found near County Road I. Crash off to the right side. Get ready for some slowing as you make way past the scene. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
You sit on your deck and you're sick of looking at your crappy siding. Type JTR on your computer for roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and more. JTR Roofing has you covered from the roof on down, serving the Twin Cities Metro. For a free estimate, visit jtrroofinginc.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by JTR Roofing. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
A mild night tonight as we only fall back to 44 under a clear sky. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow with a high of 73, and it won't be as windy. Enjoy. The warm day this week will be on Wednesday. Plenty of sunshine with a high up near 80. It does get breezy. Our next best chance of rain looks to be Thursday. A few isolated thunderstorms possible as well.
Partly cloudy right now, 60 degrees at News Talk 830 WCCO.
This is your brain. This is your brain on News Talk 830 WCCO. Any questions? You're thinking about it. Jason's talking about it. There are no breaks on bold takes here. Buckle up. This is Drive Time with DeRusha. Tuned up and rolling thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington. Now, live from Minnesota's biggest microphone, here's Jason DeRusha.
Oh, it's good to be back after a couple of days in New York City. Welcome to Drive Time. It's Jason on this Monday afternoon. Laura's here, Dan's here, and we're glad you're here as well. But I need to start with vacation because I went on vacation with my brother and his kids, and we have very different styles of being out of town. My question to you: when it comes to vacation, are you go, 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 see as much as you can, do as much as you can? Or are you rest, restore, relax, go or no? 651-461-9226. In a surprise to no one who listens to this show, I am all go. For me, a chance to go to another city is a chance to do and see things that you might only do or see once in your life. New York City, for me, is going to be 20,000 steps minimum. The purpose of this trip to New York City was so my nephews, Declan and Logan, age 14 and 12, could spend some time with Seth, age 20, who is in his junior year at NYU. And I did this with my sister's kids. We'll also go on a trip with Alyssa's sister's kids. I think they want to go to California to see Sam. Luckily, somebody wants to see Sam. But the goal is to expose the kids to something different from their neighborhood, their hometown, and get them to maybe dream a little bit. Maybe dream about going to college, maybe not. But I think there's some power in seeing your cousin kind of living on their own, doing their own thing. I remember seeing my aunt off at college, so that's what provoked this trip. And I'm not going to say there was a conflict, but there were conflicting styles. And my brother and his kids, I don't think they've, some families vacation a lot, some don't. My family growing up, we would go to a summer cottage. And so we spent time, that's sort of what you did with your summer. You went to here in Minnesota, people go to a cabin, believe me, where we were staying. Well, there was no running water and no toilet. So I think cottage is a better term. You had to go to the common area. So that was sort of how we spent our summer. We vacationed occasionally, but certainly nothing like Alyssa and I and our kids have done, where we end up doing maybe 2 trips out of town a year. For me, it's always go. I want to go, 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 go. And for these kids having their chance to be in New York City, I think one day we started in Central Park, and the kids played chess. So in Central Park, you can actually check out. I thought this was pretty cool. You could check out chess pieces. And you also could check out checkers if you're like, someone like me who doesn't know how to play chess. So we checked out chess pieces and checkers. And so we spent like 2 hours playing chess. And it took every ounce of strength in my body to not straight up lose my mind. The idea of going to New York and sitting in a park for 2 hours playing chess to me was like, what? But it made the kids happy, and that was the main purpose for that experience. And then we went the rest of the day. It is interesting how people do this in different ways. And already the go-go-goers are texting at 651-461-9226.
Of course they are.
Yeah,
they're goers. They're going to be the first ones to text.
Yeah, the rest and relax people might get to it tomorrow. We'll start.
We'll see. Sort of roll with it.
I don't think either of these is. I don't think there's a right way to do it, and that's like going into vacation or this trip. I don't know. It was sort of vacation with a purpose, with a mission. My thought was to be zen about it, knowing that it was different for them, and I didn't want to make them do it my way. And there was a point, Dan, after playing chess for 2 hours, after we went to Gray's Papaya to have a grilled hot dog, that the kids asked to go back to the hotel. Because...
And Uncle Jason said...
Well, the kids purported their reason for going back was to put on pants because it was a little colder than they thought it was going to be.
Sure.
And I said, we can do that. We can go back. I said, but if this is sort of your idea as to how we can lock it down at the hotel for the next 3 hours until our dinner at Scar's Pizza.
Not going to happen.
Well, I said, it's up to your dad, but like, I'm leaving. I'm not staying at the hotel for 3 hours. I didn't fly to New York City to sit around or even to sit around and play chess. Now, playing chess in Central Park is objectively cool.
Yeah.
Like a game? I don't know, like 2 hours. Now, are you a relaxer, a goer, or a combo depending on the scenario?
Yeah, it's the latter. It's the combo depending on this. When I think vacation, my default is relax. Go someplace and relax.
I think most people. Right. I think that's most people. I think I'm the weirdo in this scenario.
No, not necessarily, because I think contextually, if you're going someplace where it's of interest, that place is of interest. That it's not just someplace that's not home where you can go chill out. That it's that there's something unique to that place. For instance, it was back 2009, so several years ago now. I did a Gettysburg trip that I'd been wanting to do as an adult. For years and years and years and years. So met up with my folks and the three of us went out there and I had, we're going to do this and then we're going to do that. And then I had it all planned out. And they were just kind of along for the ride and helping pay for everything. So that, it worked out really well for me. So if it's something like that, if there's a place that's of interest, if I went to New York, I wouldn't just sit in the hotel.
Right.
I might not be as go to the same places as you are.
Right.
But I would still want to be going around and doing things. I wouldn't want to just, if I'm going to go someplace and chill out, it's going to be on a beach somewhere, or there's going to, you know what I'm saying? Or a lake or the woods or something like that. I'm not, if I'm going to a specific destination, then there's a purpose for it. And it's not just to sit in the hotel and twiddle my thumbs. But most of my vacations would be decidedly more on the relaxing side of things.
Yeah, I think that's interesting too, right? Which vacation do you prefer? Texter's saying at 651-461-9226, play chess in the park or eat in a restaurant. Both take 2 hours. What's the matter, you? Yeah, I mean, if you're going to eat at the Olive Garden or at McDonald's, that's a similar experience you could have at home. If you think of, you don't have to sit and spend 2 hours in a restaurant.
No.
We weren't scheduling that sort of stuff either.
No, you know what I would be going and getting if I was in New York.
Pizza.
100%.
We had some very
probably even for breakfast.
I think that's valid. We had a bagel every day, 3 different bagel spots.
Okay, I'm down with that.
And we this was not a fancy deal. Gray's Papaya is a $3 hot dog. So we had, I even allowed ketchup on my hot dog.
Ugh.
I know. When in Rome,
Sure, I guess.
It's fine. Alyssa just had sauerkraut and onions. Tell you what, that was one hot night we had after that. God, tell me you're married without telling me you're married if you're ordering onions and kraut on your hot dog. Texters say balance is best. Go see some sights for 2 days, rest and relax, enjoying new scenery for 3 or 4 days. Another texter, it's sightseeing versus a relaxing vacation. Determines go, 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 or no, go, go, go. I sometimes think I could be better at relaxing. Do you have to work on it? How do you get better at relaxing?
You think?
How do you think? I find the go, go, go to be relaxing. I was getting the shakes sitting in the park for 2 hours. Sitting in a park? I got a park and a chessboard right here.
What are we doing? What's going on?
Sort of what was going through my head. 651-461-9226. Drive time back with a little breaking news also. Star Tribune just reporting about newly released records getting a first look in those first hours after that politically motivated shooting attack that led to the murder of DFL leader Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark. We'll talk about that when we come back.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I wonder if Lindahl is a relaxer. I feel like probably no. Can you ever relax when you're in the buying and selling of homes part of your job? I don't know. It's Jason here. I've never known Chris Lindahl to turn off that marketing mind, turn off the imagination, and that is part of why Chris Lindahl has become such a huge name in real estate and in Minnesota. You know him for the arms wide out, for the billboards, but you also know that he is the guy with the big red check. The guaranteed cash offer is one of the biggest innovations when it comes to buying and selling homes. And the big red check is so effective right now because if you've been reading anything about the housing market, you know how challenging it is to be a home seller. Interest rates up and down. Buyers picky, backing out at the last minute. When Chris brings that big red check, it is a massive moment for so many people's lives. And it's not just about getting a quick deal. It's about getting the best deal with the least amount of headaches. If you're intrigued and you're looking to sell a home, get to chrislindahl.com today. Fill out the form to get a free Smart Seller's Guide. It'll help you decide which path is right for you, and you may end up choosing that big red check. ChrisLindahl.com. Get there today.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't suffer through foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store. The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to relieve pain and stress in the body with over 350 styles and sizes. Located in Maple Grove, Burnsville, Woodbury, and Roseville. Call 855-554-3338 or stop in for your complimentary fitting. In as little as 40 minutes, you could be walking out pain-free.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Twin City Framers is the industry leader building the largest wood frame projects in town, and they have immediate openings for carpenters. Here's the deal. Large multifamily carpentry pays an average of $5 an hour more than single-family homes. This is your opportunity to work for the best of the business and make more money today. If you're a carpenter or know someone looking for better pay, better hours, great benefits, and on-the-job training, then look no further. Go online to TwinCityFramers.com and apply for an immediate position today. That's TwinCityFramers.com.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Take advantage of our Mother's Day sale, which starts now. It's our best deal of the year. Save up to 60% off. Visit legacybox.com/radio and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/radio for 60% off. Legacybox.com/radio.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha
This sounds like torture to me.
on News Talk 830 WCCO.
American 3:25 on this Monday afternoon. We're in that red flag warning for tonight, so no backyard fire pits or any of that stuff. Certainly we'll keep you up to date as the concern over the dry conditions and the windy conditions. We'll get you a weather forecast coming up in about 6 minutes here on CCO. I want to talk about this report just published within the last 25 minutes in the Minnesota Star-Tribune that took a look at the moments after Vance Belter showed up at State Senator John Hoffman's house. New documents released just this afternoon, and reporters already combing through it. But the Star-Tribune with a couple of takeaways that I think are very interesting. First, for me, is the fact that within 15 minutes of Hope Hoffman's call to 911 saying that her parents were shot, within 15 minutes, dispatch suggested, and the quote is this, given this guy is a state senator, referring to State Senator Hoffman, you might want to notify state patrols so they can work on other senator notifications as they cover dignitary protection. That is impressive. The 911 call at 2:05 a.m., by 2:21, a drone was launched and dispatches saying, hey, we better make sure that other elected officials, other state senators are protected. Now, I do think the fact that it was another hour and 15 minutes where Belter was going to multiple homes. And I think we can also, we can do two things here. We can admire the efforts of the individual law enforcement officers as they went and started, in some cases, to go and check on elected officials. But we can also note that it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Because an hour and 15 minutes later, when Brooklyn Park Police were performing that wellness check on Melissa Hortman's house, they arrive at 3:35 in the morning, and they see Mark Hortman get shot by a man who was dressed as a cop. Now, the Star Tribune, gosh, almost a year ago, it was last summer, they did a story that said Brooklyn Park officers, even though they saw a shooting take place, Brooklyn Park officers waited an hour to enter the home. And these new documents confirm that they didn't get a drone into the home until about 10 after 4:09. So it took about a half hour to get a drone in the house. Officers didn't go in the house until 4:38 or 39. And I think it's fair to ask, should they have gone in immediately after witnessing the shooting? I would say, look, like I'm not a police trainer. I'm not an expert on law enforcement action. And if you have an active shooter situation, I would expect, if law enforcement is there witnessing it, that they would go after the shooter. That you wouldn't wait for, and this wasn't a situation where it was an officer alone. Even if it is an officer alone, I think we've seen actions of heroism all over, including the Annunciation School shooting, where you would expect in an active shooter an active response like that. And in this case, the officer, you had no way to know if Melissa Hortman was dead or alive. Could Vance Belter have been caught earlier? Maybe. But I think as we continue learning more, the goal is not to be like, well, look at this failure. It's to say, how do we make sure that next time around we do it better? And hopefully there is never a next time around, but likely there will be some similar situation where we can learn and do a better job.
That's the important part of examining these records, is that it's not necessarily who can we blame, who can we pin this on.
Well, Vance Belter.
If there were failures in terms of pursuing him, or if there were obvious failures, if there were failures of protocol or existing parameters of how they handle this sort of situation, then maybe there are consequences. But the bigger picture is what you said, is, okay, where were there gaps in our response and how do we close those up so that next time an individual isn't able to slaughter two people and nearly kill two more?
Right. I think it's we have to be able to ask these questions.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
And so obviously a lot more information to be learned. The other fact that came out in this report is that authorities identified Vance Belter as a suspect within 3 hours. So he avoided capture for 43 hours. And it took, I don't recall them releasing his name until quite a bit into it, which, I don't know, probably made sense, right? Considering, although, at what time did Vance Belter supposedly convince somebody to sell him his car? You think like, oh, maybe if that were released earlier, the whole thing could have been thwarted. Breaking story, just reacting to it as it comes in. And a texter saying, how about the composed Hoffman daughter? No doubt that she had the wherewithal to say, hey, my dad's a state senator, when she called in to the 911 officer. And kudos to the dispatch there as well.
She's a hero. She flat out saved her parents' lives. I don't think there's any two ways about that. So.
No doubt. No doubt. We're going to break. Speaking of heroes, in just a minute, a guy that I met at Target Field, he was raising the American flag before the Twins game. But as I chatted with Zach Johnson, I thought, man, you guys need to hear his story. The way a veteran is focusing on the mental health of other veterans by getting people outdoors. We'll talk with Zach in just a minute here on Drive Time.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Boy, just over the last couple days, it feels like spring has started to spring. For real, doesn't it? It's Jason here. Because this is the time of year you look at your yard and your lawn and you say, oh boy, I need some help. I need an expert to make sure my lawn is weed-free, make sure my grass looks great. Maybe you need an expert to redesign your landscaping. Pro Turf is DeRusha approved. Pro Turf has been taking care of Minnesota families and their yards and their landscapes for more than 40 years, and it's no accident. It's because they're honest, responsive, loyal, incredible business people, and they're going to take care of your yard. Believe me, they made my yard look incredible, and they do it by coming to your house, doing an estimate for you. They design a plan for you. This is not a one-size-fits-all national chain situation. This is local experts who know local lawns. They're starting my irrigation system tomorrow, so I'll be back in Grove taking care of that. They're also ready to rock when it comes to taking care of a brand new landscape design. All of it. ProfessionalTurf.com is the website. They're ready for your call, too. Give them a call. Tell them you heard DeRusha talking about it. 952-469-8680. Small project, big project, lawn care, irrigation. They're the professionals. Check them out at ProfessionalTurf.com.
I see something happening soon.
Oh, well, that's helpful.
Markets are headed up. No, down. Wait, maybe flat?
I don't know. I mean, you're the financial analyst.
In 1 mile, turn left. Recalculating. Make a U-turn.
What?
Recalculating.
I think you're in pretty good health. I don't see anything to worry about unless, you know, something happens.
Well, what is that supposed to mean?
Nobody has a crystal ball, but when the headlines and stories keep changing, we help make sense of what's happening now and walk you through the scenarios that could be next. News Talk 830 WCCO.
For one day, if you could ensure our neighbors facing hunger have full plates, how fast would you get to work? Together, we can make it happen. During 24-hour harvest, every dollar you give gets us closer to 1 million meals and can be matched to double your impact. Visit Second Harvest Heartland at 2harvest.org/24 to donate.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Fresh working for Crosstown eastbound near Highway 100. The activity off to the right side. Traffic slows as you come in from Gleason. Traveling 494 westbound. Got your slow stop in place there. Penn Avenue as you head out to East Bush Lake Road. Traveling East 94. Some slowing into downtown St. Paul as you make way past John Ireland Boulevard. After that, clean shot into Wisconsin. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Let's get you up to date from our friend, Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
A quiet night tonight and quite mild. We only cool back to 44, and that wind will back down as well. Sunny tomorrow with a high of 73. That's well above average. The wind does pick up again on Wednesday, but boy, do we get hot. A high of 80. That should be our second trip of 80 degrees or warmer this year. Rain showers return on Thursday. It will be cooler as we head toward the weekend.
Right now, we are under that red flag warning in some parts of our area, so make sure you check that out before you... come on, it's windy, it's dry. Do not light a fire tonight. It's 58 in Minneapolis, but it feels like 47 with that 14-mile-an-hour wind on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I can't move on, baby doll, waiting on call.
All right, so I'm at the Twins game feeling like a little bit of a big deal. I get to raise the Twins territory flag, and then right next to me, the guy raising the American flag is not only a combat engineer who served in the U.S. Marine Corps from 2007 to 2011, who served in Iraq, Afghanistan. He also started a nonprofit to, all right, like I felt pretty like I'm embarrassed to be raising any sort of a flag.
Like he's a legit big deal
Yes!
and you're just, okay.
That's right. Zach Johnson and I were talking. I'm like, you got to come on the show. And here he is. Zach, it's good to have you with us.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks for having me here. You had the center of the flag. That kind of tends to be the heaviest part, and I'm only got one hand on it. I'm just doing the cranking. So,
That's true.
You were hanging the way,
I was called to assist. When called, I answered the call to assist in the raising.
Very much so.
Zach, thank you for your service.
Thank you for thanking me. Appreciate that.
Tell us a little bit about kind of what inspired you to join the military originally.
Yeah. I was the black sheep of the family, hands down. Graduated Minneapolis Southwest, but before going through all that, I actually went to 4 different high schools. And so just bad kid. I needed self-discipline. That was the biggest thing. 9/11 had happened when I was a junior in high school, and I just saw this need for discipline. I walked into the Bloomington recruiting office, went into the Army actually first, and I said, I don't know anything about this. They said, well, if you sign on the dotted line, you'll be a private in the United States Army. There's a $40,000 bonus, and your college will be paid for when you get out. I said, okay. Walked across the hall of the United States Marine Corps, and I said, what do you give me? And at the time, Staff Sergeant Gormley looked at me and said, we won't give you an effing thing. You want this, you got to earn this. And I said, that's the one for me. And about 3 weeks later, I left and joined the United States Marine Corps in 2007.
How about that?
Yep.
You knew that you needed to earn it.
Yeah. And this was not about the financial being. I've got a 75-cent piece of metal. That is the Eagle Globe and Anchor. That's also tattooed right over my heart. Means everything to me. The title of United States Marine is earned, not given. And again, shout out to all my soldiers, sailors, airmen, Coast Guard, and Space Force. I mean, service is service. All branches are so important, and everybody's got to play a role to make it work and to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So signed up and played my part.
You're a Purple Heart recipient.
Yes.
And so you were wounded in combat.
Yep.
But the wounds, I think we've learned over the years, the wounds that our soldiers and sailors and all of the airmen, all of the wounds, physical is one thing. They don't give a Purple Heart for the mental anguish that so many people have to deal with when they come home.
Yeah, and it's amazing. And so that was a lot of the thought behind Roger Up was, having this organization where the battlefield doesn't end always on the battlefield. A lot of our Marine soldiers, sailors, airmen, they come home and there's a battle that still continues in their mind. And so that's what we really wanted to focus on with Roger Up was, what do we love to do? We love to hunt, fish, be outdoors, all these fun things that we do. But at the core of it, how do we help each other heal? And a lot of times on the hooded sweatshirts that we have, the motto that we live by is it's okay to not be okay. And I'm going to say that one more time to listeners. It is okay to not be okay. Struggling is real. I've been there. I was almost a statistic myself. Those first 2 years of getting out were a big struggle for me because when I was injured in Afghanistan, April 2nd of 2010, I lost a Marine that day from Rochester, Minnesota, Corporal Curtis Michael Swenson. And everything that I do now is to honor him in his life and everything that he did to sacrifice for this great country. And to be able to do that and honor his family just adds so much to the mission now.
Why the outdoors aspect? Because that is one of you have a couple different programs through Roger Up, but what made you say, you know what, I think the outdoors can be healing?
I mean, for me, that's God's green earth there's so much tranquility in it. There have been times I've been sitting in a deer stand. I had a Marine out one time, and I mean, I had drawn back with a bow, and we saw that hadn't kicked the yearlings yet. So I put I put the arrow back down, let the bow go. We just watched the deer and just sat in this pocket moment that was so unbelievably peaceful. The deer, the mother kind of came over close to the deer stand and had kicked the yearling into the woods because she had maybe sensed us, smelled us. Well, then she kind of, where they spray in the air, it's called bleeding. And so she sprays in the air, and he turns to me after this whole thing and he goes, "Oh my gosh," he goes, "I have seen that on video so many times. I've never seen it in person." And that to me is more important than putting meat on the deck and harvesting an animal. That moment is going to live with him forever. And it is so healing, whether you're out on the water and you're fishing, staring at a hole on the ice. There is so much that can be helpful in those situations. And that's where we're taking it a step further to where I will actually be able to do short-term and long-term mental health care and have therapy sessions while we're doing these things. And that's what I'm going to school for right now.
You're at St. Cloud State working on a master's
degree as a LPC, a licensed practitioner counselor. And so start internship at the Magnus Veterans Foundation in Dayton, Minnesota. Awesome organization. Big shout out to them. And then, very thankful to be able to do that. I'm donating my 1,000 hours to them. And then we're also training some of our service dogs over there. But then, graduate May 2027 and then go full bore.
Do you think people have a better understanding today about some of the mental health challenges? And I think about my father-in-law who served in Vietnam. My grandpa was in World War II, Purple Heart.
Wow.
But you know, my grandpa, World War II, nobody ever talked about anything.
Yeah. Yep.
My father-in-law, after maybe Tom Brokaw wrote The Greatest Generation and it became a little more acceptable to talk about stuff, he would talk. But I feel shame, and I wasn't even around for the way America treated the Vietnam veterans when they came back.
The stories.
Oh,
yeah.
It's just brutal.
No.
But when you came back, is it better? I feel like it's better, but am I just wishing that it's better?
It's the Vietnam veterans and everything that they did to change the culture. And that was 50 years of hard work. And every time I see a Vietnam veteran hat, I will make a point to go over to that individual, shake their hand, and say, welcome home. And I wasn't even alive when the war happened, but it's 50 years too late. And a lot of them are still bitter about it. And a lot of them are still battling demons just based on not their time in Vietnam. It's the time when they got home and what they had experienced. And so it's heartbreaking, but that's where so many of them I'm part of the DAV, the American Legion, the VFW, and I encourage people to join those if they're not a part of them, because they are such great communities and we do a lot of wonderful things. Even this Thursday is Veterans Day on the Hill. So the DAV of Department of Minnesota puts that on. They do a fantastic job with it. I had the pleasure of working for the DAV Department of Minnesota at one point, but yeah, it's seeing the Vietnam vets and now having our younger generation of the Iraq and Afghanistan veterans come into play and come up. It's our turn to carry the torch and to really, help move things forward to make sure we're taking care of our communities.
How can people help? You guys, this is Zach Johnson. Roger Up is his non-profit that helps veterans who are, struggling with their mental health or need some assistance. You guys have a whole program that kind of helps people through, but how can our listeners help you?
Yeah. www.rogerup.org or just rogerup.org will get you to the website. The phone number on there, you get me. I don't have Google Chat or Google Voice or any of that stuff. So my number is the main number. And I'm well-versed. I've got a background with the Department of Employment and Economic Development Veterans Program. I worked helping vets get employment. If people are looking at job seeking or they feel like they're underemployed or unemployed, there's a bunch of programs out there. Always contacting your county veteran service officers, but to know and understand what resources may be available to you if you're in a situation of some kind. But going to the website, going to the bottom and saying, I need services, I need help, maybe you just want to volunteer. We always look for volunteers for different things, whether it's an outdoor adventure or, encouraging people to come kind of hang around and get to know us a little bit. It's just it's a fantastic organization. We have a lot of fun with what we're doing, and the different programs are all on the website, but I'm happy to talk about those.
Zach, I really appreciate what you do, and we're so glad you got to come in and share a little bit about it with our listeners today.
Appreciate it.
Zach Johnson. It is called Roger Up. So check it out at rogerup.org. It is 3:49. Drive Time back in just a minute here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here with kind of a Monday message from the Minnesota Pork Board, because this time of the week, I don't know about you, but I feel a little like I got to get organized. I got to figure out what are we making for dinner. We're doing this on Thursday. We're doing this on Friday, but what am I having tonight? And it's not even 4:00. If you're listening on your way home, get your grocery store or butcher shop and let's have some Minnesota pork. The Minnesota Pork Board is made up of 3,000 family farmers. When we need help supporting our nonprofits here at CCO, when you need help supporting nonprofits all over Minnesota, who steps up? Our neighborhood, hometown pig farmers, donating so much food. And they're doing this while they're taking care of their animals, taking care of the soil, taking care of the planet, taking care of their people. It's what they do. They nourish, they feed Minnesota, they feed America, they feed the world. Lean, high protein, delicious. Pork tenderloin sounds good tonight. How about ground pork? Make yourself some pork tacos or a pork patty instead of a hamburger. Go for it. So many recipe ideas at tastewhatporkcando.com. Let's put flavor on the table. Let's have Minnesota pork for dinner tonight. Oh, yeah.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't suffer through foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store. The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to relieve pain and stress in the body with over 350 styles and sizes. Located in Maple Grove, Burnsville, Woodbury, and Roseville. Call 855-554-3338 or stop in for your complimentary fitting. In as little as 40 minutes, you could be walking out pain-free.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
It's that time of year at By the Yard. Our anniversary sale is here. For a limited time, enjoy 10% off everything store-wide through April 27th. From timeless outdoor furniture to pieces built to last for decades, now's the perfect time to upgrade your space. Visit our showroom or shop online today. But don't wait. Sale ends April 27th. Make the most of the season. And remember, with By the Yard, life is better outdoors.
Hey, Jordana, I'm Brian. I'm 58 and single. I have a house, a bunch of investments. I have a sister I'm close to, but no kids or anything tying me down, so I never really worried about planning for the future. Recently, a friend of mine passed away unexpectedly without a will or a trust, and it created a huge mess for the family he left behind. I don't want to be a burden on my sister. I want to be prepared. So why should I choose Gutman Law?
Hi, Brian. Your instincts are correct. If you were to do nothing, the state would decide who's in charge and how to distribute your assets, which is probably not what you want. And your sister will have a lot to sort out by herself. Now, this is the reason why I chose Gutman Law. My family, Matt and Jamie, were so sensitive to the nuances of my situation after a divorce. An estate plan is more than just names and numbers on a piece of paper. It's family. Making it easy on them is what matters most. From healthcare directives to wills to living trusts, Gutman Law can help you determine what type of planning makes sense to protect you and your loved ones. 612-895-1616 or go to mnestatelaw.com. Gutman Law, giving you peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by DEA Take Back Day. Find a collection site at DEATakeback.com. Got some slowing and trouble crosstown eastbound Gleason over 235W. 35 east slows both directions between Randolph and downtown St. Paul. 694 northbound. Watching some heavier levels right now as you come up from 94 toward Highway 36. Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Take Back Day, April 25th. Find a collection site near you at DEATakeback.com. Do your part to lower overdose deaths and prevent drug misuse before it starts. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
Call Metro Heating and Cooling for a $109 air conditioner tune-up. Find out more at metroheating.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
CCO forecast brought to you by Metro Heating and Cooling. Chris Schaefer says tonight mainly clear, low of 44. Concerned about the dryness out there. We'll update you on the red flag warning at the top of the hour. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 73. Wednesday, it'll be 80. The average high this time of year is 59. Just crazy. It is 59 on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
I think once you lose to Russia, you've lost the country. A lot of people say that.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, so today, the FBI director, Kash Patel, filed a lawsuit against The Atlantic, $250 million defamation lawsuit against The Atlantic, claiming that the reporting they did that said that he's been a heavy drinker, said he had a drinking problem that could pose a threat to national security. More than 24 sources, all anonymous, So, no one wanted to use their name, which if you can understand, if you're an FBI agent, you wouldn't want to use your name. The most shocking, well, let me tell you this. When I saw this story last week, I thought all right. I don't know that I care. Like, do I want an FBI director with a drinking problem? No. Do I think that big media tends to make any issue with one of these Trump appointees into a threat to national security? Yes. I would hope that our FBI wouldn't be set up. There's a long history of FBI directors with various challenges, so to say. But nothing gets me interested in reading an expose than a federal official filing a $250 million defamation. The Trump White House, these guys are the biggest babies in the world, aren't they? Like, what happened to just coming out and saying, like, a bunch of no one has the guts to come on the record and say I have a drinking problem? Like, take that for what it is. And don't pay it any mind. Instead, you file a $250 million lawsuit, which did what? Got me to read every word of the article. So, well done, Kash Patel. Continental Diamond time check right now is 3:58. Time to check out the best selection of pre-owned watches in town at ContinentalDiamond.com.
Hey, you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. We got a show and it's Guys and Dolls at Chanhassen and Dinner Theaters. It's terrific and delicious because you got dinner and a show. Don't take my word. Everybody's loving it. The Pioneer Press called it a must-see. Star Tribune called it eye-popping and blazing with brilliance. I heard a lady from Eden Prairie say this is the best show she's ever seen at the Chan. Grab your doll or your guy. Get your family over here for Guys and Dolls. Visit ChanHasn'tDT.com.
They look hot. They drive like a dream. And the value, you've got to get to Luther Kia Bloomington. It's Jason DeRusha. I just brought my Kia in for service there. It was such a great experience. My Kia is as good as new. Dan Dingman and the Luther Kia Bloomington team, just the best. From the 35 miles per gallon hybrid Kia Telluride and Sorento SUVs to the under $30,000 K5 sedan. Check out your dream car today at LutherKiaBloomington.com or stop in and tell them Jason sent you.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Proud to be the voice of the Twin Cities, Minnesota, and the Upper Midwest. This is News Talk 830 WCCO, 1029 HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Wendy Gillette. U.S. negotiators are scheduled to head to Pakistan for talks with Iran, but Iranian officials may not show up. CBS's Olivia Ronaldi from the White House.
Are these talks going to happen? Because the Iranian Foreign Ministry and their state media have said they're not going to Islamabad, Pakistan, that they won't be there for the second round of talks. And this comes after over the weekend, President Trump on True Social said Sunday morning that he was going to be sending representatives who would arrive there tomorrow evening. Well, tomorrow evening would be tonight, Monday evening. And so far, no one has left to our knowledge.
Tensions escalated over the weekend as Iran fired on 2 ships in the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. forces fired at and seized an Iranian tanker, claiming it had violated a U.S. blockade. 2 people are dead after a fight among young people turned into a mass shooting in Winston-Salem, North Carolina this morning. Police Captain K.J. Burns.
We can confirm at this point that there was a total of 7 individuals were struck by gunfire.
Detectives are actively working to determine each individual's role in this incident.
A tourist was killed at a famed archaeological site in Mexico.
Mexican authorities say a gunman opened fire at the popular tourist destination, Teotihuacan. A Canadian woman was killed and 4 others injured before the shooter killed himself. Mexico's president said federal and state security forces were being deployed to the site, and her administration was in touch with Canadian authorities.
CBS's Cammie McCormick reporting. Police say a Shreveport, Louisiana man shot and killed 7 of his own children and a cousin. He was pronounced dead after a police pursuit. Correspondent Jason Allen is there.
Authorities say the first 911 call came in at 5:55 in the morning from a person hiding on the roof of the house, while the suspect, later identified as 31-year-old Shamar Elkins, was inside. About 4 minutes later, dispatch was advised Elkins shot everyone at the home before going to another location.
The victims range in age from 3 to 11. FBI Chief Kash Patel has filed suit against The Atlantic after the magazine published a story that claims he has a drinking problem. CBS News has not confirmed The Atlantic's story, which stands by its reporting. CBS legal reporter Katrina Kaufman.
There is a higher standard when you're a public figure, but they claim that there is actual malice here, which basically means that they think The Atlantic published this with knowledge that they were publishing false information. They did that knowingly, he said.
The Dow slid 4 points. This is CBS News.
What is going on?
What's going on here? How is this possible?
Great storytelling starts here.
Oh, come on.
Why?
It's time for 60 Minutes.
Minnesota's trusted voice. Every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly cloudy, 61 degrees at 4:03. I'm Laura Oakes. A Minneapolis man sentenced to life in prison for killing his ex-girlfriend. 51-year-old David Wright was to have been sentenced last Friday, but refused to leave his jail cell. He was accused of killing Mariah Samuels in 2025, weeks after she had gotten an order for protection against him. Warm, dry, windy conditions and low humidity prompting a red flag warning for most of Minnesota today. National Weather Service lead forecaster Mike Griesinger says our green up isn't yet complete. There isn't much rain in the forecast and conditions are ripe for wildfires.
Warm temperatures and the increasing daylight will kind of continue to wake things up, so to speak. So we'll green up even without a lot of rain. It's just if we don't start getting some more rain, especially in western Minnesota, the green won't last very long before things start to crisp out.
Just this afternoon, crews have been fighting a grass fire off of Interstate 94 near Rogers. Minnesota lawmakers taking up a bill that would create a statewide Office of Inspector General to help prevent fraud. DFL State Representative Matt Norris speaking at the House Ways and Means Committee meeting about the status of the bill.
We have a few remaining sticking points that we're working diligently to resolve. There's productive conversations happening between both the House and the Senate, DFLers and Republicans.
Also in Minnesota's capital city,
St. Paul, I stand with you today to say that the state of our city is strong and like the moon rising.
St. Paul Mayor Cully Herr making her first State of the City speech as she surpasses 100 days in office.
I do not take these stories or the importance of our city government lightly. Whether you know we are behind it or not, we are here to do the work. I hear you, I see you, and I am fighting for you.
Herr says her immediate goals include rebuilding downtown St. Paul and an overall recovery from the aftermath of Operation Metro Surge. Hundreds of nursing home workers from across the Twin Cities are on strike over wages, benefits, and staffing levels. The strike involves around 300 employees at 5 nursing homes. Their union says current conditions are contributing to a growing worker shortage. And it's a busy Minnesota sports night.
The Minnesota Wild play at Dallas and the Minnesota Timberwolves are in Denver. It's game 2 of both playoff series, with the Wild looking to capitalize on their impressive win in game 1. Defenseman Quinn Hughes
is a great stepping stone for us, but I mean, the desperation is going to continue to elevate, and they'll be, they'll be ready to go. They're a team that's gone deep many years and competitive, and like I said, it's going to be a long series, so we'll be ready for game 2, and they will be too.
As for the Minnesota Timberwolves, it's unclear if Anthony Edwards will play. Right now, he's listed as questionable with a knee injury. He was also listed as questionable before Game 1 before being cleared to play. Mark Fry, News Talk 830 WCCO.
And WCCO News Time is 4:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought by Whole Foods Market. Going to find the crash cleared out of the way for crosstown eastbound on 100. Traffic-wise, a bit slow as you make way through the area. Heading out to 35W. Traffic slows 494 both directions between 12th Avenue and Highway 100. If you're going to be traveling north 35 east, some slowdowns past Maryland Avenue up to Roselawn. Save on your favorite produce at Whole Foods Market. Get 2 large Hass avocados for $3 with Prime through April 21st. Finish off rice bowls, sandwiches, and more with this creamy topping. While supplies last, shop in store online. Terms apply. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader. Find them at Dickeys.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
A mild night tonight as we only fall back to 44 under a clear sky. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow with a high of 73, and it won't be as windy. Enjoy. The warm day this week will be on Wednesday. Plenty of sunshine with a high up near 80. It does get breezy. Our next best chance of rain looks to be Thursday. A few isolated thunderstorms possible as well.
Mostly cloudy right now, 61 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
The conversation doesn't end at the headline. It's just the beginning. Let's dive in. News Talk 830 WCCO. Good questions. Topics you'll probably talk about at dinner. Places to go for dinner. This is the Ride Home Reimagined. Welcome to Drive Time with DeRusha. Thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington. Now, here's Jason DeRusha.
I want to get you right to a story that's developing this afternoon. New documents released, as reported by the Minnesota Star Tribune, looking at how police responded in those minutes, hours, and then ultimately days after attacks on more than just Melissa and Mark Hortman, on Yvette and John Hoffman, their daughter Hope, but also 2 other elected officials' houses where Vance Belter allegedly went to with the intent to kill. Assassinations. One of the biggest stories in the history of this state, I think. Star Tribune report that just came out over the last hour had 2 major takeaways. One is that authorities identified Vance Belter as a suspect really fast, right within 3 hours of the initial kind of start of all of this, which was at the Hoffman's house in Champlin. So that was 2:05 in the morning. So by, in between 5 and 6 in the morning, they sort of knew who they were looking for. The other part has been this analysis of Brooklyn Park Police and their response. And this is all that's been reported. I've been on the air since these documents came out. I haven't seen them. So this is what the Star Tribune has up at startribune.com so far. But saying that Brooklyn Park Police, which I think everyone, even in the moments after, said did a brilliant job of proactively going to perform a wellness check on Melissa Hortman. They arrived at her house at 3:35 in the morning, and then they saw Mark Hortman get shot at the door. And so the question is, should officers have sort of ran in like it was an active shooter situation? The chief of police of Brooklyn Park is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Chief Mark Bruley, who has been watching the reporting, maybe heard us talking last half hour about it. And Chief, thanks for being on CCO.
Thanks, Jason. I do appreciate it. And yes, I didn't read the article, but I actually heard it on you speaking about it. I'm on my way to Duluth to actually honor the 22 SWAT teams that ultimately captured the suspect in this case. And I heard your story and just wanted to offer some clarification.
Yeah, please do. Why don't you go ahead? You have the floor.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, we tried really hard. This is obviously a case that is being prosecuted. We're trying to not prosecute it out in the public, but we also understand that when information comes out like this, that people want answers. First, I want to just remind everybody that we are in the middle of an after-action report where we say in the state, the Denver County Sheriff's Office, Champlain Police Department, New Hope Police Department are paying $429,000 to have professionals that are industry professionals from all over the nation do an after-action review from stem to stern on what went right, what went wrong, what technology, and how can we be better in the future. And that is really the way it should be done on these national type incidents where we learn from individuals that dig into this with the experience to be able to say what went right and what went wrong. And we are all for that. The problem is, right, I hear you talking about, one of the issues about running in, and I'll give some clarification for you. One is we say active shooter, but that's not actually a legitimate term. Like, that is a generic term that people use. What we train police officers in is active killing, right? Because you can imagine if somebody had a knife in a shopping center running around stabbing people, we still want to respond in a certain way to stop the immediate harm in those actions. So the actual term that we train them is active killing. And in the active killing training, one of the things that we train officers, just for context, is a wounded individual, a downed child in a school, or a downed person, a wounded individual, is the same criteria as an active killing, meaning they're rescuable. We get them out and we try to save lives as we perform both missions. So just give you a little context, and we could doc, right? These officers train for weeks, a year on this. But I just wanted you to have some background.
So in this case,
how tactical this gets.
Because it was apparent that Mark Portman was down from the training, that wouldn't be thought of as an active killing.
Well, yeah, let's go through that just a little bit. First off, one officer was there, engaged the suspect, who engaged in gunfire at somebody at the door. The officer couldn't see anybody at the door. He could just see the suspect talking to somebody at the door. Shots went into the door. Immediately, the officer engaged the suspect with gunfire, and the suspect immediately entered the home. And then the officer, for a short period of time, exchanged gunfire with the suspect. By this time, the second officer arrived. And they had determined, right, the shooting stopped. That was it. That's all the gunfire that occurred was in that instant. The two officers came up with a plan to approach the house. They immediately started approaching the house and realized that there's a downed person at the door. From the body-worn camera and from the interviews, they believed it was Melissa. They have a conversation that she's down. She's heard us rescue her. So they immediately move up, enter the house. So we talk about they don't enter the house. So they do. They go into the house. They rescue that person and find out it's not a female. And by the way, they don't know who Melissa is, but they do know she's a female. And they get there and they rescue the male that is obviously critically injured, and they remove him back to a safe place and start CPR. There's no other information about where anybody is in that house. There's no other shooting. There's no other active killing indication. And in fact, one of the things that officers always have to balance, once they got additional officers that arrived on scene, now they have to make the determination, are we going to make entry in this house?
Sure.
But one thing about when we make entry, we go to shooting calls all the time. We just don't make entry because there was a shots fired. Our presence can actually incite somebody. For example, what if Melissa was in there being held hostage, and now we just come bum rushing in there, and now her life is in jeopardy because of our actions? So we're always trying to balance how to use technology and what is the right step in this case. And appropriately, the officers contained the house. There was no indication of movement, no yelling, no noise, and waited for additional resources to arrive. But that's how the events actually took place.
So when you say, as we're talking with the chief, Mark Burley from Brooklyn Park Police, when you say that they didn't know who Melissa was, weren't those officers specifically sent to that house because of who Melissa Hortman was? Not that I think that should dictate what the response was, but at least you would know they were checking on Melissa Hortman.
Correct. Yes, they knew that and had to be given the address. I was just saying
they didn't know she was the speaker. They knew she was a politician, though, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, to a certain degree,
Yeah,
when I think about how we improve our response to this, to me, it's more about communication of figuring out, look, do we have an appropriate or adequate way to notify, local law enforcement, to even know like where law enforcement or where elected officials live. Like, I think the fact that your officers had the wisdom back at the shop to say, hey, send somebody out to check on the Hortmans, I think was really great.
Yeah.
I do think, I think it's a fair question to say, are we, as much as you say there's a chance that officers could exacerbate a situation, there's also a chance that, she could have been alive in there, or they could have caught Vance Belter and you would have protected so many other people from potentially being in harm's way during this kind of day-long effort of trying to catch the guy. It's easy to back, seat driver this bid or Monday morning quarterback. But I do think the question of, are we and maybe the ultimate question is it active or is it not? Because I do think most people would think if you witness someone being shot, I would think that you would go and try to intervene or try to catch the guy.
Yeah. Well, and you're absolutely right. And the details matter. And I mean, we're just going to keep chipping away at more, but let me give you context.
Which is good. Like over time, we want it. Like, I don't want to judge right now, like you're saying, I am so grateful that these communities are spending this money because it is that important to get the facts and get the learnings right.
It is, but I want to give you a little bit of context about, so the officer knows that there's somebody at the door that gets shot. There's gunfire. They immediately, relatively immediately get up to the door right after they exchange gunfire. There's no additional gunfire. When you actually hear the gunfire that is very quick, it is not until long after that we're able to piece it together that he essentially shoots Mark and Melissa simultaneously. But the officer would have no knowledge of that. To even myself watching that video numerous times, it seems like one course of action. So you say like Melissa could have been still alive. There would have been no indication that he shot Melissa. Like that gunfire that went so rapidly, any average police officer would assumed it was both at the officer and at Mark, who he had killed. But it wasn't like there was a big pause and gunfire again inside the house, right? Like there wasn't a second event. What we now know is that first event is when he shot Mark, he stepped into the house and almost immediately shot Melissa. But that wasn't learned until days later when we were able to put this all together. From the officer, with the information that they have at that time, when they're standing at that door, is that he killed Mark, we rescued Mark, and he's in that house, and we have no idea who else is in there. Certainly there's risk. Certainly, there's thought process. Do we try to take away some real estate? Do we fly a drone? And that is the tactical conversations that these men and women that do this job in really, really difficult situations have to navigate at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning about what's the right steps. And there is no right answer. If they go in and she's hostage and she's jeopardized, I'm having a conversation with you on why do they force the issue? Why do they go in? Yeah. Especially not knowing anybody else is in the house. So it's
fair. It's fair. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would leave it with this. A couple things. One, if that's me at that officer, I do the exact same thing as those two officers did. I think they are absolute heroes, and I think they absolutely did what I would have done. If I was there, I would have done the exact same thing with the information that I was presented with. The second part is I think you started to talk about it, and I think it's really, really key, and that is those officers don't interrupt him and take that vehicle away from him. I would be horrified by how many lawmakers are dead today, if I have to be really honest with you. Like, we have a tragedy unlike anything this country has seen, knowing what his motives were, what his intent was, what was in that vehicle for guns, ammunition, hit list. That interaction, which is horrific. Melissa was my friend, right? Like, I mean, I lost not only just a community member, but a friend that I've known and worked with for years. And if we don't take away that vehicle and stop him from having access to all those weapons and access to his other vehicles, this is an absolute tragedy of epic proportions.
Yeah. I think there's no question that's true. No question. Chief, really appreciate the insight and your perspective, and we'll talk again soon. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Chief Mark Bruley from Brooklyn Park. He's been at it for a long time. Always open and transparent from back when he was a detective, and I was interviewing him years ago, so appreciate him calling in. 421. Because this was so important, we missed the whole idea of having our next guest on at precisely 420. But you know what? If you're worked up about it, pop a gummy, and we'll talk about it when we come back.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Go see Dan Dingman and the crew today, or always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs
Hi,
a
Lately.
reset,
This is Dan.
grab
Can you hear us
the all-new
okay?
energy refresher.
I can. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Am I pronouncing your name, by the way?
Mango
Yep, Laley.
And last name is Fateh?
Now with extra
Fadahi.
Fadahi.
new energy refreshers.
Thank you for the
only at
correction.
Starbucks.
We'll be back here in just a minute
Gas
and a half.
prices are up, and Luther Kia of Bloomington can help you out. It's Jason from my Luther Kia of Bloomington team. I drive a Kia. I love it. Dan Dingman can guide you into a hybrid SUV getting more than 35 miles per gallon, or take a look at the plug-in and electric options. If you need the power of gas, I just test drove a Telluride third row, high-tech, affordable luxury. Luther Kia of Bloomington.com to see what's on the lot, or stop in at 35W and 494 and tell them Jason sent you.
Protect your family with the Byrna Less Lethal Launcher. Easy to carry, simple to use, and incapacitates an attacker for up to 40 minutes. Visit Byrna.com. That's BYRNA, Byrna.com. Purchase and shipping restrictions vary by state and municipality. Go to Byrna.com to check availability at your location.
And Doug. There's nowhere I wouldn't go to help someone customize and save on car insurance with Liberty Mutual, even if it means playing in a football game. Boom! 42! You're going down, Doug! Oh, yeah? Your price on car insurance when you customize and save is going down. Hey! Limu? What are you doing on their team? Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Breaking news for your home. Wayday. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home, like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Wayday long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Wayday. Shop Wayfair's Wayday from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Your daily detour into sharper conversation. Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I would run through a fire just to be by your side. If your heart's on the line, you can take mine. It's crazy, but it's true. There's nothing I won't do.
It is 420, and we're in the 420s here on CCO. And I wanted to talk about where we're at as a state post-legalizing recreational marijuana, and a little bit about 420 because I've been very interested in watching the development of THC, CBD, cannabis products as a wellness product. And yes, people certainly use it sort of in the Cheech and Chong 420 style. But I find the marketing interesting. And so to get some insight, we bring in Laley Fatehi, who is the owner of Crested River Cannabis Company in southwest Minnesota. And she joins us live on video link up right now. Hi, Laley. Nice to see you.
Hello, Jason. Thank you for having me. Happy 420.
Laley was part of the effort to legalize recreational cannabis through her work at Blunt Strategies, but now also running her own hemp product manufacturer and retailer. Laley, what do you think about, I shared a little bit about my sort of the dissonance I feel with that marketing, and is it a serious product that we want to be legitimized and not in the back corners, and no one should be embarrassed or a stigma around it? And then at the same time, it's sort of today is a day that kind of celebrates the stoner side of cannabis. What do you make of all of this? And am I just being too much of a stick in the mud about it?
No, I think that we want to celebrate all aspects of the plant and the way that it can be consumed, both for enjoyment and for wellness. And I think that's what makes 420 this year especially exciting. We're seeing a much broader range of customers and consumers being brought into the celebration. I certainly wouldn't say that 420 is at all silly any more than, say, Oktoberfest would be silly as a celebration of beer. It is just an opportunity to make for consumers and local businesses, to celebrate legalization in these products.
When you look at Minnesota post legalizing recreational cannabis, it's been a slow go, right? Like now we knew it was going to be slow. I don't know that, well, you were in on it at the beginning. Did you think it was going to be this slow?
No, we did not anticipate that it was going to be this slow. The rollout has been challenging, but we are happy to see now, the dispensaries are starting to open, flower is starting to become available on shelves. And at the same time that we're seeing that marijuana side of the industry opening up, I can tell you that, business continues to be robust on the hemp side as well. And on the hemp side really is where we service a lot of customers that are more interested in the product from a wellness standpoint.
Now, there is no doubt that there are some regulatory challenges here based on whatever's going to happen at the federal level, right? Will beer companies still be allowed to make the seltzers and some of those products that have been very successful for them? What are you guys all going to be allowed to do? What's your sense on where things are going to end? Because I know there are so many of our listeners that their life has been changed by the fact that they're able to, pop a gummy or take a seltzer to help with pain or sleep or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, absolutely. At the federal level, the situation is pretty problematic right now. There was legislation that passed at the federal level to ban about 90% of the hemp-derived THC products that consumers have now been able to get across the country. And so, those consumers that are concerned about losing access to these products, I do urge them to contact their congressmen, their senators, and to raise their concerns about this. But, similar to marijuana, these hemp products, they do have protection at the state level. And so businesses in Minnesota, consumers in Minnesota, we will still have a marketplace both for the marijuana products and for the lower potency hemp products. So I think, businesses like ours, we focus primarily on the Minnesota market. We have those protections in state law, so we will continue manufacturing. I think the outlook for some of the breweries, especially the larger ones that operate at a national level, may be more challenging.
It's bleak. I mean, for those guys, like the ability to ship, you just have to change your business model. And then there's the question if you survive. That I think is where they're at, right? Because they would be maybe unable to ship to other states, which is their concern, right?
Absolutely. But, if there's one thing that we've seen from this industry is that there is a lot of activism and there, is a lot of familiarity with the limits of the law and also the gray areas in the law. And so
no doubt.
I don't see this as an existential threat, but I do see it as a challenge that needs to be addressed.
Layli Fatahi is with us. Crested River Cannabis is her company. So I was interested today seeing this story in the Star Tribune because I think some people were worried when recreational cannabis was legalized that you would see, the normalization would lead to young people maybe, smoking weed more. And the data seems to be indicating that fewer students are reporting using marijuana. Now, those who use it say they started young, but it's maybe a little less doomsday-ish than some people had thought.
Absolutely. And this is consistent with what the data has been across the nation for every state that has legalized. When states legalize, youth consumption goes down. And that is because legitimate cannabis businesses, they card. We make sure that our customers are over the age of 21. When it's sold underground, that is not necessarily the case. And also when you legalize, a lot of resources go towards youth education, as has been the case here in Minnesota, ensuring that young people understand that there may be cognitive impacts of cannabis consumption for those who are under the age of 24. And so, those are part of the reasons why we see this decline. It is consistent with what we expected.
Layla Fadahi is with us talking about marijuana, talking about cannabis here on 420. If there's one thing you could change, kind of in the public perception or in the law, what would you change?
I would change, the over-regulation of this product. It is an adult use product, but it is objectively safer than alcohol, than tobacco, and we continue to see it over-regulated in a way that really raises prices and shuts off access for a lot of consumers who would be benefited. And so, we hope to continue to see that stigma go down and have the regulations really be pegged to risk rather than stigma.
Yeah, I'm excited that the federal, because the change of the federal status, that we'll finally really be able to rigorously research this, because I think it would be so useful if we had a better pile of data like we do with alcohol, we do with tobacco. But because of the federal sort of limits categorizing marijuana as it used to be, as as dangerous as heroin, the universities around America haven't done the research that I think is now starting to happen, which I think will be great. I think people just want to know for sure,
Yeah, I think that rescheduling will certainly help with that sort of study done with sort of clinical rigors, but we have thousands and thousands of years of longitudinal data.
But we got a lot of people using this for a long
has.
time. Yes,
absolutely. And those health benefits have been well understood.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing some insight, Layla Fadahi, with us. From Crested River Cannabis Company, where you join us live from. You're a manufacturer and you got a retail outlet there, right?
That's correct. Yep, we are located in Morgan, Minnesota, which is in the southwest portion of the state, in a rural community. We're excited to be here.
Like
you can find our products.
There's like 900 people down there in Morgan, Minnesota, right? In Redwood County. So
absolutely. It is a rural area, but we have a strong customer base. It's an agricultural area. We have a lot of farmers. We have a lot of folks in the trades, and they utilize our products for a variety of purposes.
Layla Fadahi, really appreciate it. Thank you for being with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
420. It is April 20th. So there you go. Maybe should tonight be my night, you think, Dan? Tonight's my night?
It's as good as any other.
I mean, I love a news hook. I love a timely opportunity. 434, back in just a minute. Drive Time with DeRusha on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jason here with an opportunity for you to change your life, to feel like yourself again, to have more energy, have better sleep, less pain, that feeling that you're going to be around for your family. Livia gave me all of that and more. Livia.com, Livea.com is the website. Livia is more than just a prescription. I think a lot of people right now are fascinated by GLP-1s. And if you join Livia today, those GLP-1s start at just $99. But for me, it was the nutrition program, because the GLP-1s and even the nutrition program, you're going to feel success. I mean, by the time summer is around, you'll be changing your clothing size, your clothes will fit better, you'll have more energy, all of that stuff. But what I've found is the combo platter, the fact that they're going to help you with the GLP-1s and they're going to teach you nutrition and they're going to teach you how to keep your busy life and achieve success and keep that success. I lost the weight almost 4 years ago now, and I've kept the weight off the whole time. You can do it too, but you probably need some help. I did. Livea got me there. Reach out, livea.com, or make the phone call, 855-GO-LIVEA.
What draws my admiration? What is that which gives me joy? Baseball. A man stands alone at the plate. This is the time for what? For individual achievement.
Pulls this one deep into the corner. It's gone for a home run. 2-run shot for Trevor Larnach.
But in the field, what? Part of a team.
Right center field, Buxton back, base of the wall. Byron leaps up and makes the catch.
Stands are full of fans. What does he have to say? I get nowhere unless the team wins.
Team.
Clutch at the plate. Range in the field. That's the formula for a winning season of Twins baseball. Hear every pitch on News Talk 830 WCCO.
I'm back to doing what I love and more. Thanks to the Good Feet store.
When you're in pain, you need the Good Feet store. Don't waste another minute suffering from foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store. You might feel the difference immediately.
I walked right into the Good Feet store and I tried the Good Feet Arch Support System, and my hip pain is gone.
The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to put your foot in the most ideal position, redistributing the body weight more evenly, helping to relieve pain and stress in the body.
That nagging pain in my lower back, gone.
The Good Feet store has over 350 styles and sizes to relieve your pain.
I've always had bad knees. I've had 6 surgeries and I could never do a knee bend. Now I'm working out and it's just wonderful.
Located in Maple Grove, Burnsville, Woodbury, and Roseville. Call 855-554-3338 or stop in for your complimentary fitting. In as little as 40 minutes, you could be walking out pain-free.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Mike Rowe here with another random fact. Those cracks on your walls aren't just cosmetic. They could mean your home is sinking. Whether it's drywall cracks, exterior cracks, or sticking doors or windows, do yourself a favor. Call Groundworks. I spent some time working with these guys, and they're the real deal. Their people are trained and certified to stabilize your foundation. Innovative Basement Authority is now Groundworks. Schedule a free inspection.
Licensed in all states where work is performed. See website for detail.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164. 800-390-1164.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
I'm watching slowdowns for North 100, County Road 81, heading up to 694. If you're traveling 610, got your slowdowns. Eastbound run, Broadway to Highway 252. 35 east slowing both directions between Highway 62 and downtown St. Paul. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
It's By the Yards anniversary sale. Get exclusive savings on everything through April 27th. Upgrade your outdoor space with beautiful furniture built to last. Shop now before the savings are gone. And remember, with By the Yard, life is better outdoors.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
CCO forecast brought to you by the Yard. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
A quiet night tonight and quite mild. We only cool back to 44, and that wind will back down as well. Sunny tomorrow with a high of 73. That's well above average. The wind does pick up again on Wednesday, but boy, do we get hot. A high of 80. That should be our second trip of 80 degrees or warmer this year. Rain showers return on Thursday. It will be cooler as we head toward the weekend.
Right now, it is sunny and windy. Right now in St. Paul, it is 59 degrees on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
I think it's absolutely flawless. Whoever's idea was that is a genius.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
I have to tell you, I was a little surprised by the anger I got online today when I suggested that 420 was annoying marketing and there was a little bit of dissonance going on. I appreciated our guest from Morgan, Minnesota, saying that to her it was fine. But I posted on Threads, unpopular opinion, in a time where legit companies are trying to normalize THC, CBD, cannabis, I find 420 very annoying. Now, I know that this is not the universal opinion. I said right there, unpopular opinion. But Dan, I did not expect people to say, oh, shut up. Us having a holiday for it does nothing but normalize it. Yeah, you're right. We should give weed to companies and let companies enjoy and profit off it. Won't someone think of the company? It's like, okay. Another texter says, it's annoying that you're so scared of going bald that you thought that humongous forehead was the way to go. I mean, that. Another one, stick to the traffic report. I'm not a traffic reporter. Don't be a snob. You were a big tattletale when you were a kid, weren't you? In a time where legit companies are trying to normalize gift giving, I find Christmas very annoying. Okay. I find people like you very annoying. Diary entries dumped into my feed are annoying too. I thought the cannabis crowd would be more chill. Like, and I said that to someone and she said, well, the only reason we're all freaking out is we haven't had our cannabis yet. I think that might be true. Is Tim Walz correct that Democrats have abandoned small towns? That's my takeaway of his announcement. I know, is that an unpopular position? Because that's not how this is being framed. 651-461-9226. The announcement today that Governor Tim Walz is creating a small town PAC. So, it's one of these ways that politicians try to raise money and support other candidates. Sort of the sell from Tim Walz is to expand the map, that Democrats need to reach out to small town Minnesota. He says we're going to show up in small towns, organize in places too many people have given up on, and build power with the folks who call these people home, these places home. If Democrats want to win in more places, we've got to start showing up in more places. I think Tim Walz is correct that Democrats have become the party of the urban elite. Democrats are the ivory tower. They are the inner city. They are the rich people living up on Lowry Hill. And Democrats are not small town America. It's a flip of what the parties were like when I was growing up. The Republicans were the out of touch, rich elites. Today, it's the Democrats. And I think Tim Walz saying we got to get to small towns is brilliant. And if I were a Republican who wasn't trying to position myself to run for the White House in the future, which like right now you got to think like we're in this Trump era. So it's going to be somebody in Trump world next. Shouldn't Republicans launch America Cities PAC and start talking about cities? 651-461-9226. Tim Walz is absolutely spot on. Now, most of the response to this story in Minnesota is as typical and as boring and as just let's play the rocks and cows hit. Well, Tim Walz isn't even popular in small-town Minnesota. What's he know about small-town America? Would it help if Tim Walz said, I've been guilty of this myself, focusing on where most of the Democratic voters are instead of trying to win back people who have been Democrats in the past? Yes, I think that would be a valid thing to say. And nobody else in the Democratic Party is talking about trying to regain parts of the country. Just like Republicans, all they do in this state is whine about how they can never win because of the cities, blah, blah, blah. It's fraud and fraud and fraud. Instead of actually getting out there and saying, you know what, we are going to campaign in the cities. We're going to have candidates in the cities. We're going to talk about issues that people in cities care about. Try it. I think this is absolutely brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And it does not matter that Tim Walz is not popular in greater Minnesota. In fact, to me, that makes the point that the Democrats have left greater Minnesota behind. They left the range behind. They left the farms behind. And we can get into why that is, but I think it's unquestionable that they have. Unquestionable that they have. What do you think? Is Tim Walz right? Have Democrats abandoned small towns? And do you think this is a good idea for Democrats? 651-461-9226. Drive Time back with your take in just a minute.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Twin City Framers is the industry leader building the largest wood frame projects in town, and they have immediate openings for carpenters. Here's the deal. Large multifamily carpentry pays an average of $5 an hour more than single-family homes. This is your opportunity to work for the best of the business and make more money today. If you're a carpenter or know someone looking for better pay, better hours, great benefits, and on-the-job training, then look no further. Go online to TwinCityFramers.com and apply for an immediate position today. That's TwinCityFramers.com.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce,
It's Spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees when used as directed. Spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-939-1441. 800-939-1441.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Breaking news for your home. Wayday. Wayfair's big sale is almost here, and you can score the best deals in home. Like up to 80% off everything home. Yes, you heard that right. 80% off with free shipping on everything. Plus surprise flash deals all Wayday long. We're talking outdoor furniture and essentials, rugs, and more. All at Wayfair, and all up to 80% off during Wayday. Shop Wayfair's Wayday from April 25th through 27th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
If you don't care about saving 50% off your wireless bill for the same 5G coverage the big guys are charging a fortune for, maybe you care about keeping jobs in America. Pure Talk does. They've pledged to run their entire operation from this country, including all their customer service. Or maybe you care about our nation's veterans. Pure Talk does. They've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to America's Warrior Partnership, a fantastic organization working hard to prevent veteran suicide. Or maybe you care about closing America's skills gap. Pure Talk does. They're a proud supporter of MicroWorks. They're helping my foundation train the next generation of skilled workers. Don't get me wrong. Saving money's great, and you'll save plenty with Pure Talk. But if you want to be in business with people who share your values, dial pound 250, say micro, and switch to an American wireless company that actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast.
Pump up the volume.
When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by USPS Ground Advantage. North 494 slows Bass Lake Road to the Fish Lake interchange. North 100 still jamming up as you move past Bass Lake Road, heading up to 694. Highway 36, watch for your slowdowns there between Rice Street and Cleveland Avenue. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
If you have trees to trim or need tree removal, call an ISA certified arborist. Call the CCO Land Company I use. B&M Tree Service, 1-800-569-9034. Or get on the web, bnmtree.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Long announcing he's retiring soon. Hopefully we'll still hear him on those By the Yard ads. That's who brings us the weather forecast. We're under a red flag warning. It's windy. It's dry. Tonight, low of 44. It's 73 tomorrow and 80 on Wednesday. The Minneapolis Club would love to see you for dinner sometime this week. They're going to open up that patio with this beautiful weather. Anybody can go have dinner, make a reservation, or just pop in for a drink and dinner at Charlie's at the Minneapolis Club. Right now, it is 50 degrees. No, it feels like 50 because of the wind. It's 60 on CCO.
Where curiosity hits the gas. Drive time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Would a boy like you, like a girl like me?
Is Tim Walz right when he says Democrats need to start showing up in small towns all over America? Kevin's in Anoka. Kevin, what do you think?
He can show up, but he's not going to be liked there. He's not liked by anybody who has above room temperature IQ. He hasn't been a productive member of society for decades, and this is just another grift.
I mean, Kevin, you don't let me down. You don't let me down. Look, first of all, you're wrong because in greater Minnesota, even though Tim Walz is unpopular, being unpopular still means 35-40% voted for the guy. So if you, as a Democrat, can get small towns, greater rural areas in any state, maybe where he doesn't have the baggage that he has here, if you can eke out another 5% of voters, that could make a difference, don't you think?
Anybody who has common sense and functions in normal society.
Get out of here, Kevin. You got to engage in the conversation. Joe's in Edina. I know the hits. I mean, you can play the hits. Joe, is the governor right? I mean, I think he's partially to blame, but I do think Democrats have abandoned small towns and rural areas.
Okay, well, you hear me, Jason?
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree that Governor Walz is right. The Democrats should get out and campaign more out in greater Minnesota. However, I'll say that with my biased opinion, that Democrats have been an embarrassment to the state of Minnesota since, I think, Al Franken, and before that, Governor Turnbuckle. We've just been the laughing stock of the country since Tim Pawlenty had left was done being governor. So,
Yeah.
you know, they should do, if they want to increase their voting records for people.
Let me ask you this, Joe. I mean, because you're clearly a Republican, don't you think Republicans should make more of an effort in the cities?
Sure, of course. I think, you know, it's just sort of, as we say, common sense that if you want voters, you got to get to them, give them your message, and show them what's what.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Yeah, I think it's been a failure of both the parties, this idea. But a texter says the opposite view, where the idea of trying to bring everyone into their tent and telling everyone that their ideals or ideas are valid, the DFL has alienated their historical base. It's been happening for decades. Ronald Reagan was a Democrat, famously said he didn't leave the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party left him. It is a tricky thing to balance, right? To still be true to what you're about. But I think the Democrats have allowed themselves to be defined by the issues that the activists talk about the most, which are these social issues, which are widely unpopular. They just are. The idea, and I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, I'm saying it's unpopular. These are different things.
I think the vibe that you're getting in a lot of these messages and the calls is simply that while the sentiment may be correct, that this would be a positive move for the Democrats, perhaps Governor Walz is not the right messenger.
I think Minnesotans are the worst people to weigh in on this because there's so much baggage. They have no idea. No idea. A Continental Diamond, no offense. Continental Diamond time check is 457.
It's true. Taking a cash offer for your home is the easiest way to sell it, let's face it. But why would you want to leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table? When you hired the John Schuster Group Coldwell Banker Realty, you can still sell your home fast without sacrificing any money. Sandy just worked with the Good Neighbor agent. She was moving out of state. She called John for a cash offer. He told her he'd be happy to make her one, but that he could sell her home for way more on the open market. The Schuster Group's marketing system reaches thousands of potential home buyers every day. It only took John 3 days to find her a buyer willing to pay $10,000 over asking price. That's tens of thousands more than she'd have gotten with a cash offer. John's marketing system made a huge difference. You can learn what your home is worth in seconds on johnschustergroup.com.
Buy a home, sell a home, we'll get you moving. JohnSchusterGroup.com.
Terms and conditions may apply.
It seems like just yesterday when I captured my son's first steps or when we recorded his soccer games on VHS tapes. Those moments are gone. But the old home movies and pictures don't need to be. That's why my son created Legacy Box.
That's right, Mom. Over 1 million families have used Legacy Box to digitally preserve their old home movies and photos.
Simply fill Legacy Box with your old camcorder tapes, film, and photos. They will professionally digitize and send them back on DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud.
With Mother's Day around the corner, it's the perfect time to get your Legacy Box and save your family's history. After all, few things are as important as protecting your precious memories. Give your mom a Mother's Day present she'll never forget. Take advantage of our Mother's Day sale, which starts now. It's our best deal of the year. Save up to 60% off. Visit legacybox.com/radio and for a limited time, get an incredible 60% off your order. That's legacybox.com/radio for 60% off. Legacybox.com/radio.
5 years, 0% interest? Really?
Yep, on professional installation from Apollo Heating, Air, and Plumbing.
Well, no interest is the kind of interest I find most interesting.
Well, if you're interested, visit callapollo.com.
Streaming live via the Odyssey and iHeartRadio apps. This is News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by DEA Take Back Day.
I'm Wendy Gillette. The White House says Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer is resigning. CBS's Ed O'Keefe on her rocky tenure.
She's been the subject of an ongoing, pretty significant internal investigation at the Labor Department regarding widespread misconduct by herself, by at least 4 other aides that had been excused from their jobs after this investigation, and most recently reports that members of her own family were, in essence, using Labor Department personnel and resources to their own benefit while she was serving in this role. She served for about 13 months but is now on her way out.
Keith Sonderling takes over as acting secretary. A second round of peace talks between the U.S. and Iran is in jeopardy amid tensions over the Strait of Hormuz. Correspondent Olivia Rinaldi from the White House.
Iran is saying they're not going. The vice president says he has not left yet, that he's still here in Washington. We've been told he is expected to go at some point. But again, the ceasefire is supposed to expire potentially tomorrow evening.
Apple has picked a new leader as CEO Tim Cook steps down. CBS News tech contributor Ian Scher.
If Apple co-founder Steve Jobs was a design person and Tim Cook, his successor as CEO, was all about operations, John Turnus, the upcoming CEO, comes from Apple's hardware team.
Not guilty to murder after the dismembered body of a 14-year-old girl was found in his car. LA District Attorney Nathan Hockman.
These charges include the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring. First-degree murder with special circumstances. The special circumstances being lying in wait, committing this crime for financial gain, or murdering a witness in an investigation.
A planned fight among young people turned into a mass shooting in a park in Winston-Salem, North Carolina this morning. Police Chief William Penn.
I'm frustrated. I'm angry. I'm sad. This didn't have to happen. It's senseless.
Today is 420, also known as Marijuana Day. WWJ's Charlie Langton from Detroit.
Hot historians say that 420 actually got started back in 1971 in California as a way for teenagers to meet at 4:20 p.m. to smoke marijuana. John says he started smoking pot in the 70s. So what has changed?
Oh, it's gotten so much better, stronger. Back in the day, it wasn't that good.
And they used 420 to promote the full legalization of cannabis.
This is CBS News.
Help keep our community safe and healthy during National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, April 25th. Find a collection site near you at deatakeback.com.
Minnesota's trusted voice every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Mostly cloudy, 63 degrees at 5:03. I'm Laura Oakes. A somewhat chaotic and emotional sentencing process is now over for the family of Mariah Samuels.
Following an intense day of victim impact statements, a judge sentenced David Wright to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the killing of 34-year-old Mariah Samuels last September. Loved ones packed the courtroom to share heartbreaking accounts of the devoted mother of two's life. Mariah's sister Simone with some strong emotions immediately following the sentencing.
Just feeling like this is not over for my family, and it's never going to be over.
The victim's family is now publicly advocating for comprehensive policy reforms within the Minneapolis Police Department as the case sparked widespread scrutiny over how the domestic abuse situation that led up to Samuel's death was handled. Outside City Hall, I'm Taylor Rivera. News Talk 830. WCCO.
Fire danger is high for most of Minnesota today, prompting a red flag warning until 8 o'clock.
If you have a fire start, they'll burn quick, they'll burn hot, they'll burn fast, and they can be difficult for firefighters to kind of wrangle and get control of.
That's National Weather Service lead forecaster Mike Griesinger. Just this afternoon, crews had to fight a grass fire off of Interstate 94 near Rogers. The Lakeville City Council expected to vote tonight on a measure that would pause new residential construction for a year. Those in favor say the booming South Metro suburb needs a break from years of intense construction to make sure they're developing responsibly. It comes as a package of bills that the legislature would loosen local zoning rules to encourage more home construction to help alleviate a statewide housing shortage. A new survey shows youth cannabis use in Minnesota has hit a record low 3 years after adult use became legal. State health department officials say, however, they need parents to discuss the drug sooner, following a rise in very young children being exposed to it. MDH's Heidi Glessman.
Being able to have those factoids and information is really helpful, and that's where we can come in and give that information so parents don't feel like they're kind of fumbling in the dark trying to figure out how to have that conversation with their 6 or 7-year-olds.
She says they are working with schools across the state to develop new outreach programs designed for elementary age students. Well, we are expected to hear soon whether or not Ant will be able to play tonight as the Timberwolves face the Nuggets in Game 2 of their playoff series. Right now, he is still listed as questionable with that knee injury. He was also listed as questionable before Game 1, before being cleared to play. They lost that game. And the Wild also have Game 2 in their playoff series against Dallas tonight after an impressive win in Game 1. Both games scheduled for later tonight. WCCO News Times, 5:06.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
The problem is midway through Egan right now. Update is brought to you by Linda's Construction, lindasconstruction.com. South 35E, Pilot Knob Road. It's a rollover accident. All lanes of traffic are blocked. Traffic squeezing by off to the right shoulder. Get ready for your slowdowns to come down from Lone Elk Road. Traffic's basically stopped in the area as of right now. Traveling across down westbound, got your slowdowns there as midway between 28th Ave and 35W. 35E northbound, watching slowdowns there as move up from Highway 62. Heading into St. Paul, 94 eastbound slows Lexington to Highway 52. Protect your home before spring storms arrive. Choose GAF asphalt shingles and receive free installation labor this April. Go to lindasconstruction.com. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
We got a show and it's Guys and Dolls at Chanhassen Dinner Theaters, and it's a knockout. The Pioneer Press called it a must-see. Star Tribune called it blazing with brilliance. You got gamblers, romance, and show-stopping tunes. Guys and Dolls, visit ChanhassenDP.com.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Brought to you by the Chanhassen Dinner Theater, the must-see show Guys and Dolls on stage now. Get your tickets at chanhassendt.com. Here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
A mild night tonight as we only fall back to 44 under a clear sky. Plenty of sunshine tomorrow with a high of 73, and it won't be as windy. Enjoy. The warm day this week will be on Wednesday. Plenty of sunshine with a high up near 80. It does get breezy. Our next best chance of rain looks to be Thursday. A few isolated thunderstorms possible as well.
Mostly cloudy right now, 63 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Your what's happening, why it's happening, how it's happening station. News Talk 830 WCCO. He knows news. He knows talk. He knows nonsense, too. So get ready for a lot of each. This is Drive Time with DeRusha, fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Once again, here's Jason DeRusha.
Oh, it's good to be back in Minnesota after a couple of days in New York City. My mission is complete. Getting my brother and his two kids out of their one-block neighborhood and give the 12-year-old and 14-year-old a chance to dream a little. It's a interesting thing when you think about growing up in a suburb, right? And I grew up in a suburb of Chicago, which I don't think is that different from growing up in Lakeville or maybe St. Louis Park, because it's so close to the city, Maple Grove, where my kids grew up. But when you grow up in a suburb of Chicago, you grow up in a suburb. You sometimes go to the city to go to a museum or go to, a Blackhawks game or a Bulls game or a Cubs game, but you live in the suburb. You're from Des Plaines, Illinois. That's where my nephews are from. And it was fun to see them gain the confidence of navigating the subway. And my brother took them to a Broadway show, to Stranger Things, so they got to have that experience as a family. And then the main purpose was to get them to spend a little time with our oldest at NYU. So hopefully, not that college is for everyone. And certainly if, my brother knows about what tuition is for NYU. He doesn't want his kids to go there. No parent wants to be paying those bills. But giving a kid a chance to get out of their normal comfort zone. And selfishly, it was fun for me as an uncle to have that kind of time to spend with those kids, too. 5:10 D-Rush Hour News headlines. Let's go with the lead.
The headlines you might have missed. without missing a beat. This is your fast pass through the biggest and most impactful stories of the day. Welcome to the DeRush Hour headlines, starting with the lead.
Couple of breaking stories to kick off the lead this afternoon. We learned that the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, or as President Trump called him, Tim Apple, Tim Cook is leaving. Not exactly like going on to some other company, but he is stepping down as the CEO of Apple. Always interesting to see, like, all right, who did you pick to become next? And John Turnus, who is an engineer, the senior vice president of hardware engineering, will become the next chief executive officer. Tim Cook will be in the job through the summer. But you know how that goes. When it's announced that you're done, you're almost done. So pretty interesting stuff. Here at home, we had a little bit of breaking news right here on our show as the Star Tribune reported about some newly released police records detailing the hours after the shooting of John and Yvette Hoffman and the killing of Mark and Melissa Hortman. Those details coming out in the Star Tribune detailing a wait which the chief of police in St. Paul, Mark Bruley, defended live on this show. He heard me talking about the Star Tribune story and he called in. Said, I want to tell you what I think about our officers who, yes, waited to go in that house after witnessing the shooting of Mark Hortman. But he points that the fact that they were there kept the suspect, Vance Belter, from getting back in the car that he was using that was loaded with weapons, had a list of potential targets. Belter had to make a run for it. So he feels his officers were heroic, altered the path of the way things were going to go that day. The Star Tribune report questions why they waited 25 or 30 minutes to send a drone into the house. Could they have intervened? Could they have caught Vance Belter? Could they have helped Melissa Hortman? All questions that still being investigated by police, by an outside agency, and then this story as well. Also in the Star Tribune, the city of Lakeville saying, we want to put the brakes on new construction. Oh, that was very nice. See, Dan was mad that he hit the button like that. Are you mad that you hit the button earlier, that I like paused in a way that was unexpected?
No, I was mad because I was trying, the way our system works, nobody cares about this. I have to you have to get the thing spun up to work.
Yeah.
And so I'm turning the pot off to start the thing and then turn the pot back on, but I hadn't turned the pot back on, but then I'm starting the thing and it wasn't going in the order that I thought we were going to go on anyway. So it was a mess. It was a good idea.
Oh, I see. I skipped one. It was my fault. You could have just said it was.
You skipped two, but that's okay.
I did skip two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally my fault. Well, there's a lot of things.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
There's a lot of stuff.
No, I get it. That's why I wasn't going to throw you under the bus.
You can.
I know I can, but I wasn't going to.
It's totally my fault. Anyway, Lakeville is saying, this is fascinating. I don't know if you guys know this. If you live in Lakeville, you know. Lakeville is one of the fastest growing suburbs in the state. And for Lakeville to say like, oh, we got to step on the brakes, it's sort of shocking. Lakeville used to be, I don't want to say rural, but pretty, for a suburb, it was pretty rural. And now concerns over overcrowded schools, residents worried about the habitat. According to the Star Tribune, last year they had about 550 building permits issued. In 2021, they had 736. So every year it's like another 500, another 600, another 700. Right now, they're concerned about what the state government is going to do with new zoning rules. Are they going to supersede the authority that the locals have? And so that may be an issue. Let's talk about the tariffs. Because we're already seeing businesses claiming refunds for the tariffs. The Supreme Court ruled that the Trump tariffs were beyond the constitutional, I would say illegal, but then everyone's going to text in and say, like, oh, no, that isn't. But it's beyond the constitutional authority to enact the tariffs. So there's an online portal that opened up this morning. You know, our company's going to be made whole? Not exactly. Because if you lost business because of prices going up, you can't recoup that. But actual dollars you spent on tariffs, businesses should be able to get some of that back. The mayor of St. Paul today gave her State of the State address.
Hear ye, hear ye.
That was actual live audio. Is that right? No. St. Paul Mayor Kali Herr talked at the International Institute of Minnesota in St. Paul earlier today, her first state of the city. She's about 100 days in as the mayor of St. Paul. And an ice surge has been perhaps the main focus. Renee Good was killed less than a week after she was sworn in, she said. And then Alex Preddy, she said the impact of Operation Metro Surge still being felt in the city of St. Paul, but they are filling potholes and talking about renovating Grand Casino Arena, Roy Wilkins, and the River Center, all city-owned properties. So they're trying to get their money to help downtown. And they tore down that CVS in Midway, thank goodness. It's 5:17. Time to take a break. In just a minute, we're going to take you to Moorhead. Kind of interesting stuff going on in downtown Moorhead, where a shopping, like an old school mall, indoor mall, was sort of the main event near the river. Mall's gone. New stuff opening. How is one Minnesota city re-envisioning itself? We'll talk with the president and CEO of downtown Moorhead next.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
J.H. and Sons at the Galleria in Edina wants to make you look and feel amazing for the spring and summer and wedding season. It's Jason here. For J.H. and Sons, you know that they are my men's clothing experts. The Galleria store is stunning. The team is amazing. In fact, Chad posted a picture of himself at this wedding over the weekend on his Instagram account, and I sent him a note. I'm like, you look fantastic. He said, I got this suit at J.H. and Sons. I'm like, are you trying to steal my bit? No. Nobody's stealing anything. J.H. and Sons, I'm just happy to see people happy and experiencing amazing service from the team over there. And in fact, the guy who took care of Chad has been taking care of him for decades because the expertise they have over there, the service, they know fashion, they know style, they'll know what you have going on in your life. And so if you're looking for that wedding suit or a graduation suit, they got you. If you're looking for a casual vacation outfit or a nice kind of, summery fit to wear out to dinner, they got you for that too. jhandsons.com. Get to the website, sign up for the email list, and make sure you stop in that store and tell them you heard about J.H. and Sons at Drive Time with DeRusha.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Don't suffer through foot pain, sore ankles, tired legs, aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store. The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed to relieve pain and stress in the body with over 350 styles and sizes. Located in Maple Grove, Burnsville, Woodbury, and Roseville. Call 855-554-3338 or stop in for your complimentary fitting. In as little as 40 minutes, you could be walking out pain-free.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Staples has hundreds of ways to grow your business this spring, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters, mouth-watering menus, and more. Shop now through June 13th and save up to $150 on all your custom prints. Staples,
That was easy. Hey, Mom, now that I have an after-school job, I think I want to buy a drum kit.
Okay, Rockstar. Let's look at your account. When kids start making money, Chase has easy-to-use tools and expert bankers to help them learn how to manage it.
And next month, I'll buy the bass drum and the cymbals. Oh, and maybe some noise-canceling headphones for you.
Aw, you've thought of everything. Help kids save, budget, and build financial independence, all with Chase. That's good for kids and good for parents. Visit your local Chase branch and get started.
Account subject to approval. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
You just testified under oath you're getting more fiber in your diet, and it was easy. Where is this additional fiber coming from?
Mira Fiber Gummies.
Objection!
It's true. Mira Fiber has 8 grams of fiber to help me get the fiber I need in a day, plus 4 B vitamins for metabolism support, all in one serving.
Overruled.
My gut rests its case.
Oh, that's my line.
Find Mirafiber today at your local retailer from the makers of Miralax. Mirafiber supports metabolism of carbs, fats, and proteins. Serving size is 4 gummies.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
He's known for the slow burn. He wanted to keep it organic, and I'm still begging for it. More controversy.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Rush Hour News headlines. Going in depth now with a story of urban renewal in Moorhead, Minnesota. This weekend, Moorhead celebrated a grand opening of a newly envisioned downtown. And Matt Lyseth, the president and CEO of Downtown Moorhead, Inc., is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Matt, thanks for being here.
Great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Moorhead had a challenge, right? And I've been to Moorhead where I remember that Moorhead Center Mall sort of, it sort of was like a block as to what downtown Moorhead could be, right?
Yes, absolutely. It was. It came about in the 1970s because of a federal government program called Urban Renewal, and it was essentially a way for towns like Moorhead and across the country to just basically level what was there and start anew.
It is a remarkable opportunity, right? Because most, even large suburbs, when they are faced with trying to create a downtown the way that people want it today, you've got this patchwork of property owners, how to figure it out. You guys had a pretty unique opportunity. It was a big challenge because you had that big hole right on prime land in Moorhead, right on the Red River. But you also had the opportunity to do something big, right?
Absolutely. When we look back at the Moorhead Center Mall, we look at it as a huge challenge. Just trying to recapture that site for new development. But it also becomes a really great opportunity where you can go about and acquire the entire property, and not a block by block or building by building acquisition strategy that a lot of towns have had to go through in their history.
So this weekend you celebrated a grand opening of the Loop. Tell me what that means, what you guys did.
The Loop is really a community center for everybody in Moorhead and beyond. It encompasses our library. It has a walking track. It has a place for children to play and read books. And we've also introduced our Spark Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership. It's really a space, a co-space where people can come in, take some classes, learn a little bit more about how they set up their own business and how can they expand an existing business.
Why do you think it's important to have sort of a downtown center, to even have a downtown moment for Moorhead?
I think the downtown, just having that space where people can come to and kind of connect and be part of the same community together. One of the pieces that will be coming out is our plaza, which will be just west of the City Hall building that's being renovated right now, which is just north of the Loop. It's really about how do we keep bringing people into a core and having them be part of Moorhead and experience life together with all these different programs and things that can happen.
Matt Lyseth is the president and CEO of Downtown Moorhead, the economic development group in this area. Okay, so when you look at the challenge, I mean, the challenge you face is not unlike what a lot of Twin Cities suburbs have looked at. I think about Plymouth, for example, near Minneapolis as a suburb that has struggled to try to figure out, all right, people today like having good schools, they like having land, they like having their backyard, but they also do want that downtown center. Are there spots around Minnesota or around the Midwest or around the country that you drew inspiration from where you said, all right, these guys are doing it right or they have done it right?
We looked at everybody, and certainly our situation is a little unique as far as having a large mall in the place of where we wanted our downtown area.
Right.
But we've looked at a lot of communities on just how they redeveloped the block, how they revitalized interest within a core sector, because we knew we kind of had to write our own, story of what we wanted to come out of this. But we were able to visit a lot of communities, and this is across the nation. Moorhead is not the first, or nor will be the last, to try and do this kind of major redevelopment, and learning from these communities what worked and what didn't work, and how they would have gone about it had they known everything in advance. So that really helped us in this visioning plan for the entire downtown area, and now in the block by block case as we look to redevelop the whole site.
Moorhead also has that unique scenario of being so close to Fargo. And Fargo has been able to sort of have this downtown that feels active, and there's restaurants and there's bars and there's a bit of a scene over there. Did you want to be different than that? Did you want to be a Minnesota version of that? When you look at the sister city there in that other state, how do you think about how the two cities can function?
Yeah, I think it's more about working together, because it is, from our downtown to Fargo's downtown is a 2-minute walk across the
right.
bridge.
Yes.
So it's
so different.
Really close.
Yeah.
And the difference between the Moorhead downtown area that we're working on is a much more compact site with easier access to the river and the park systems that we have right along the Red River. And so we're really looking at the experiential side of it. We absolutely are going to be working on the restaurants and the coffee shops and great places to live around it. But we're really looking at, again, creating that experiential community-based offerings that people have pride in and want to come downtown and experience life together.
Yeah, I mean, you think about the library, you think about the community center and entrepreneurship center. Inside, I know you have an indoor walking track because we know how cold it gets in the winter, and you want people to kind of still be gathering indoors all year round. What are there one or two things that you're most excited about in this sort of 12 square block area?
A lot of it excites me. But the big part of, I think, is the proximity to the river that we have. For the listeners down there, downtown Moorhead is like sitting right next to the Stone Arch Bridge. We're that close to the river, and the green space that is there. This is really a community feature to be right in that wonderful space right along a river with some green space that everybody can enjoy. And it's what excites me is the potential that comes in from the mixed use that'll come in there with new restaurants and new coffee shops. But we really love this connection with nature. We are Minnesotans at heart. We believe in, taking care of our river and making sure that it's a place for everybody to enjoy. And this is 2 blocks off. And the way the streets are situated, it is a very safe environment. So families with young children can bike the trails from far north Moorhead to far south Moorhead to the core, and get up into our loop where the library is, or this plaza. It's a 2-block walk, and it's not across any major intersection. So it's a really safe area that can keep bringing people in from all facets of life.
I'm excited about it. I'm optimistic about it for your community, but also as a template, really, for other communities looking to do a similar makeover. We're all drawn to those sort of central community places, whether it's a downtown of a big city or a downtown of a mid-sized city, a St. Cloud or a Moorhead. So Rochester, you've seen them remake their downtown as well. So pretty exciting stuff happening in Moorhead. And Matt Lyseth, we're glad you could shed a little light on it for us today on CCO. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Matt Lyseth from Downtown Moorhead Incorporated. We'll break in just a minute. Oh, not the best weekend for Minnesota sports, except for the Minnesota Wild. We'll talk with Dave Schwartz in just a minute here on CCO.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Go see Dan Dingman and the crew today, or always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
Oracle is enlisting the help of a fuel cell developer to power its AI data centers. Oracle is acquiring up to 2.8 gigawatts of Bloom Energy's fuel cell systems, with 1 gigawatt able to power around 500,000 U.S. homes for a year. The International Energy Agency says AI data center electricity demand is expected to double between 2024 and 2030. I'm Jason Brooks.
In today's fast-moving job market, staying ahead means keeping your skills sharp. At University of Maryland Global Campus, we help keep your capabilities cutting edge with our skills-based education programs designed to move your career forward. Explore more than 135 degrees and certificates in business, cybersecurity, and more. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start May 13th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chef.
Jason here for Tureen Dermatology. I love telling the story of my dermatologist, Dr. Mohiba Tureen. She takes care of me. She takes care of my whole family, my wife, my in-laws, and she wants to take care of you. You can make that appointment at TAREEN, Tureen, dermatology.com. 10 clinics all over town. And I want to talk a little bit about skin cancer and making sure you go see an expert who knows what to look for. Now, look, if you have a mark or a mole that has changed shape, that has irregular borders, that has changed color, that maybe has grown, go get it checked out. But for the rest of us, maybe you don't know what to look for. You don't know where to look. Tureen Dermatology, they specialize not just in skin like my skin, old guy skin, old white guy skin. They specialize in knowing what to look for and where to look on skin of people of various ethnicities and various colors. They are the best. They are the best. And you are going to get in as soon as 3 weeks. That's how quickly they'll take care of you, because they leave room for new clients. And in some other cities like Lakeville, people were waiting 6 months to see a dermatologist. You can get in within 3 weeks, maybe even faster, depending on where you live. Reach out. One website for all those clinics. TAREEN, TureenDermatology.com.
Hey, it's Tiki Barber with a special message for any local business owner looking to diversify your income. Amazon Hub Delivery is making it easy to earn extra money. When you
Hi, Dave.
Amazon Hub Delivery,
hello.
Staff will deliver
How are
packages
you?
to customers.
I'm good.
With each package,
How are you?
You gain extra income.
I mean,
and
I couldn't be better if
exposure
I
for your
tried.
business. There's no upfront cost, no delivery experience, and no long-term contracts required.
Mr. DeRusha, are you in St. Paul tomorrow?
/Hub Delivery. That's Amazon.com
I have
/HUB
some goodies
delivery.
for you and Dan.
Looking for a great real estate agent? Someone who can help
So I
you
may
sell
have
your
to
home
take a walk over to your
fast
place and
for
drop off
top dollar?
a goodie box.
Go to
for you.
ready.com.
We like goodies.
I know.
REDY.com.
Well, I make sure you guys get some
Because
goodies.
on Ready, agents will pay you
We appreciate
just
that
for
very
the
much.
opportunity to sell your home. Yeah, on Ready, agents will pay you for your listing. Thousands of dollars up front just for a chance to sell your home. And it's easy. Just go to ready.com, enter your address, and when you want to sell. In just 48 hours, the best
He's
local
just discovering
agents
a
are
new trick.
competing on Ready to
You got a-
be
you got a
your
poll there?
agent with cash offers up front just to win your business. Hey,
So it would
your
appear.
listing is valuable. Don't give it away. Make those agents earn it.
Look
Get
at you.
paid to pick your real estate agent.
Finding
Go to
ways to do more
ready.com
with less.
or
I love
call
it. Thinking outside the box and so
888-525
forth.
REDY. 888-525-READY.
Staples has hundreds of ways to grow your business this spring, like spectacular signs, brilliant brochures, eye-popping posters, mouth-watering menus, and more. Shop now through June 13th and save up to $150 on all your custom prints. Staples, that was easy.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
And brought to you by Staples. Got the rollover crash still working for South 35E and Egan as make way toward Pilot Knot Road. Traffic single lane and getting by off onto the right shoulder. Traffic is jammed and crammed as you come down from Lone Oak Road. Sherry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Jordana Green here. I pray you and your family are always safe. But if there's ever a time where you need an advocate after an accident, let Mike Bryant of Bradshaw & Bryant help you. He will work with and for you in dealing with the insurance company. Call 800-770-7008 today. Bradshaw & Bryant, seeking justice for the injured.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Bradshaw and Bryant seeking justice for the injured. Personal injury attorneys bringing us the forecast from Chris Shake.
A quiet night tonight and quite mild. We only cool back to 44, and that wind will back down as well. Sunny tomorrow with a high of 73. That's well above average. The wind does pick up again on Wednesday, but boy, do we get hot. A high of 80. That should be our second trip of 80 degrees or warmer this year. Rain showers return on Thursday. It will be cooler as we head toward the weekend.
64 in Maple Grove, but winds blowing almost 20 miles an hour. That's why we're under that red flag warning until 8 o'clock tonight on CCO.
The ride home deserves better conversation. Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO. Now let's get a Monday rundown on the weekend in sports, where Dave brings the analysis and Jason brings the snacks.
Get your popcorn ready.
Time for some fun talking ball and other stuff with Dave Schwartz on Drive Time with DeRusha.
And Dave is with us on Video Link Up if you're watching on YouTube or the WCCO Radio Facebook channel. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Good afternoon, Jason and Dan. How are you?
You know what? I feel pretty good. Dan, I don't know. Like, Dan filled in for me on Thursday and Friday. I heard it went great.
So people lied, which is nice. I appreciate it when they do that.
Well, I heard Thursday was rough and Friday was great.
Uh-oh.
It's fine.
No, I didn't hear it. I apologize. I missed it.
That's okay. I didn't tell you what was happening.
You didn't? I would have been a listener. I would have called in.
I'm sure you would have. That's why I don't like doing that. I don't like going out to my friends and family and say, hey, please come listen to me. I just, if people come across it, that's great. But I hate.
You got to be shameless.
I know.
You got to be shameless.
I'm just not.
Oh, me neither.
Sorry, that was really loud.
Yeah, I'll just let you have that one, Dave. Go ahead.
Yeah. You got to ask for the sale, right? Like that's the deal. If you don't ask, people never say yes. So you got to ask for the sale. Let me ask you about our weekend of playoffs. I like it when you have the Wild and the Wolves both going at the same time. Mm-hmm. To me, it feels like, man, like what a great sports town. Like, this is exciting. More exciting for Wild fans on Saturday than Wolves fans. That's
yeah. I mean, it's fun because it's the postseason. I have a tough time lamenting start times because it's one of those things that you just. Does it stink that we're probably not going to drop the puck tomorrow night and until 8:30, 8:45? Who knows? Yeah, it does. But it has to happen to somebody, and at least at this point, it's not every game of the series. It's
we're gonna drop the puck tonight, aren't we?
Tonight, yes. Sorry, I meant
okay.
I'm talking about Wednesday. I'm totally forgot. Yes, tonight is an 8:30, but I more meant
on the home game.
Yes, the home games.
Understood.
But either way, I mean, someone has to have those late games, and that's just kind of the way it is.
I think about this too. It used to drive me nuts, right? Like the late start, the 8:30. What about the kids? But I don't know if I've gotten used to it because there's so many regular season games that if you get a national TV game, you're starting late anyway. So I'm sort of less bothered by this, if that makes sense.
We've also had it happen to us. I mean, it happens. It feels like it's every postseason, and I mean, the inclination is for us to think about what does it mean for me. That's why I went to right to Wednesday. Yes. But I mean, it's. We are used to it. You get those national games, and part of it is that this is what it means to be in the spotlight, that everybody wants to, the Minnesota, we'll talk about the Wild, is a team that people want to see everywhere. My mom watches the game in New York. She's so into it. And that's part of being a popular team across America, is you have to find those times that, that are weird, that across time zones everybody can see.
The Wild wins 6-1 at Dallas.
Yeah.
Quinn Hughes looked great. We weren't 100% sure based on the illness and the rest and how is he going to be. I thought he looked incredible. Although everybody looks pretty incredible when you win 6-1, right?
It was very interesting to watch that game because, granted, the Dallas Stars are missing Rope Hentz, who has been outstanding for them, and he's been a wild killer for years, and that makes a real difference. But I just thought that Dallas didn't even look like they were there, and I don't know if they weren't ready. I don't know if they thought this game was going to be easier because historically they've had the Wild's number in the playoffs, but there was no panic on from the Wild. I thought they played very smooth. I thought it was just sheer dominance from the beginning to the end. And I mean, certainly I'm guessing in Dallas, they're feeling some panic tonight because that game was a all around beatdown.
Yeah, I mean, and the goalkeeping.
Yeah.
Not that Jesper Wallstedt had to have the game of his life based on the way that Dallas was playing, but he's looked so good of late.
Well, he looked great, and you and I talked about it last week that yes, he's a rookie, but he's not your average rookie. He is,
for sure.
He's played a lot of big games, and he showed that.
This is your Minnesota Wild PR bragging about this.
and he's been great even to start to end the season. And I was surprised because it didn't look like he had to stop that many shots. But when the game was over, I think Minnesota only had one more shot than Dallas. But
yeah, I was surprised too.
because in the second period, it seemed like they didn't have any shots on him.
Yeah. Yep. 6-1, man. Like that is sort of stunning, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think one of them was an empty netter, if I'm correct, maybe near the end of the game. But but still, it was much more of a lopsided game, I think, than anybody thought. I felt confident, and I still feel confident that Minnesota will win this series. But I was surprised at how little punch the Stars had on Saturday, and I would assume they will have a whole lot more punch tonight.
That's sort of how that happens, right? Like when you see a letdown, and frankly, like the Wild's job was to win one. And so, man, 2 would be nice. 2 would be nice.
I mean, to come back here 2-0 would be incredible. They're going to have to earn it tonight because you saw it a little bit near the end of that game where there was a lot more chipping and punching. And my favorite is the phantom arm. Okay, have you ever see that? Watch this tonight. You'll see a player throw his arm around another player, but then look away like he doesn't know what's going on, as if the arm has a mind of its own. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean my arm's around it? And then it is. But that's my personal favorite move. But you saw more of that chippiness near the end of the game, and I would venture to guess that tonight's going to be a very physical, chippy contest.
The Timberwolves, on the other hand, had a nice start to their matchup. They gave us all some hope against Denver, but that thing fell apart for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Nikola Jokic is Nikola Jokic, and he's a very dangerous player on his own. He's even more dangerous as he did in the second half. Just kind of did a better job, I think, of working with the rest of the offense. So now you really have to pick your poison. If there's a moment in the game where I don't remember who it was against, but he kind of could have taken it to the rim and backed that guy off, but instead he finds someone else cutting, and now it's really dangerous because Jokic is all of a sudden a ball distributor and a team player, and he had a triple-double, and I think in that game. Yeah. So that's really dangerous, and the way that they lost that, the way that the Wolves lose that game is dangerous, being up in it, and then all of a sudden you're just watching the lead go away. That's not great for the old psyche.
No doubt about it. And it's certainly, these guys spent a lot of time. Denver spent a lot of time at the free throw line. And Minnesota sports fans, we love to complain about the officiating. NBA fans love to complain about the officiating.
Yeah.
But you can't blame it on that, but
no, not when you have a lead like they have a lead.
But part of it is you look at some of the studs. Randall had a bad game. McDaniels had a bad game. Yep. And in the playoffs, if we're going to beat Denver, you need Randall to be really sticking it to Denver physically, and I don't think we saw.
Yep. Well, you got to have secondary scoring too. I mean, Anthony Edwards is always going to lead the way for the most part, especially. But now he's got a sore knee, so who's going to step up in that absence? Not just on the offense, but on the defense, and that's going to be pretty difficult. So I'll be.
All right, let's stand by because I want to talk Twins baseball. The Minnesota Twins off tonight. But they got a busy week after a disappointing series this weekend. Although a series that maybe exposed what a lot of us were worried about with this team. So we'll talk about that with Dave Schwartz as we continue here on CCO.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk.
Sorry, I hit mute by accident when I was clicking something.
So how many of you guys out there spent your weekend doing comparison shopping of your home and auto insurance? Raise your hand. Make some noise. No? Nobody? I have good news for you. Never, ever should you be wasting your time doing comparison shopping to get a better deal on home and auto insurance. What you should do is reach out to the Canopy Group. It's Jason from my insurance broker, my team, really. I got 50 people working for me at the Canopy Group, and they're working for you, too. When you reach out the first time at 800-967-3389 or online at thecanopygroup.com, those 50 people will get to work with your scenario, your zip code, your home, your car, your family, and they will customize the solution for you. They have 16 different companies. They're not trying to wedge you into the one company that they have. 16 companies, so they will get you the best coverage at the best price. Find out today what they can do for you. You can get that quote online, so you don't even have to talk to anyone, although I like calling and talking to Kyle. That's what I do. But if you go to thecanopygroup.com, click on Get a Quote, and off you go. They'll get you the best coverage at the best price. They've done it for me. They saved me more than $800 on my home and auto insurance. See what they can do for you at thecanopygroup.com.
And now, News Talk 830 WCCO presents 20 Seconds of Zen. Because when you're well informed,
yeah, sorry, I hit
naturally.
I hit mute by accident. My apologies.
That's cool.
Can you hear me okay?
I hear you. It comes in a little hot.
In a noisy world. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Not horrible, but just louder than it was.
How's this? Any better?
A little bit.
Let me see what it's.
Don't screw with it too much because I can adjust with it.
No, I might just. I just want to make sure I got the right
sore ankles,
mic
tired legs,
selected.
aching back and hips, or sore knees. Call the Good Feet store.
Yeah.
The Good Feet Arch Support System is designed
I
to
can just
relieve
back off
pain,
a little bit
stress,
too.
and body. With over 350 styles and sizes, located in Maple Grove, Burnsville, Woodbury, and Roseville. Call 855-554-3338 or stop in for your complimentary fitting. In as little as 40 minutes, you could be walking out pain-free.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Jordana here for my friends at Mini Leaf. Hear what they're saying about this brand I love.
Tell me about your experience with the night gummies.
I started using them. I think this was my third order. I heard Jordana on WCCO radio talking about it, and I thought, well, if she's doing it, trying to get off the Ambien, and I started with the pineapple gummies for sleep. That's what I take them for, is sleep. And I've been very pleased with the product. I started with the full gummy. Now I only take half, and that helps me sleep. So I'm very happy with the product, and I'm 70 years old. So.
And those Sleep Night gummies will help her sleep painlessly through the night. Those Sleep Night gummies are a real charm. Check out Mini Leaf's products at MINNELEAF.com. Check out that Triple Diamond Pain Cream, those Sleep Night gummies, or their other great products. I use them. There's so many CCOers that absolutely love them. You will too.
Mini Leaf means quality. Taste happy at minileaf.com.
The home of Minnesota's best legal products.
Growing a brand is hard, but reaching the right customers shouldn't be. Meet Outcomes from Viant. We've built an intelligent platform that handles the complexity of digital advertising for you. Powered by advanced AI, we help your brand show up in the right places at the right time and ensure that every dollar you spend leads to a real business result. It's smarter advertising made simple. Visit Viant.ai.
Have you ever felt like you were living just a B or B plus life? It's so dangerous to live that, more dangerous than a B minus or a C plus life, because when you're living a B or B plus life, you don't change it. You think it's good enough. Is it? I'm Susie Welch. I host a podcast called Becoming You. People think, okay, an A-plus life is not available to me, but there is a way. We are all in the process of becoming ourselves. Listen to Becoming You wherever you get your podcasts.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Good news for the Egan stretch, South 35E near Pilot Knob Road. The rollover accident's been cleared completely. All lanes opened up and traffic is open up as well with max and moderate levels and speeds at the posted. 494 seeing slowdowns both directions between 100 and Cedar Avenue. Northbound 35W, not a bad ride. Highway 36 up to Highway 10. Trey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
With a well-designed will, trust, and estate plan, you can have peace of mind. Choose Matt Gutman of Gutman Law to give yourself peace of mind. Call him now, 612-895-1616 at gutmanlaw.com. Gutman Law, peace of mind today for tomorrow.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Gutman Law, Wills, Trust, and Probate Law at gutmanlaw.com wants you to know that tonight it'll be down to 44. The winds will calm after 8. Tomorrow, 73. And sunny, a DeRusha delight day. Wednesday, 80. Too hot. Too hot. Don't you think? That's too hot. Right now, it's 60, but windy on CCO.
Jason DeRusha.
You are worth the price of admission every single day because I have no bleeping idea what you are capable of saying.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Continental Diamond time is 5:52. Time to get yourself to continentaldiamond.com. Check out Minnesota's greatest collection of pre-owned watches. And one of the only places I've ever been to that has a full-time, on-location watch repair operation. Trained experts who've been doing it for decades in St. Louis Park at Continental Diamond or online at continentaldiamond.com. Dave Schwartz is with us. We are talking sports. And the Twins, there's a little music for you. Twins starting pitchers have been pretty good. I think they've been pretty good, Dave.
Yep.
And we weren't super worried about starting pitchers. We were worried about the bullpen. And this weekend, they gave us something to worry about, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean they did. It's one of those
straight
things,
up swept. Like oof.
Not good. And this has been a problem for middle relief though is I think it's one of the more underrated categories in your team if you look across baseball. I mean you have got it's the thing that you probably focus on the most in terms of like when you're looking free agents and things like that. But it's or the least rather I should say, but it's one of those things that matters the most because if you don't have that guy who can carry what a good starter has had, especially when they can't go there, you'd love it to go 5, 6, 7 innings. If they don't, you need that person to come in and save it, and that's what's going on right now. Is the Twins just are not having good luck with that guy across those couple of innings before they can get to close out the game, and that's dangerous because it's a problem they've had for a long time, for many years.
And their depth is going to be further tested now because today we learned that McAble's going on the injured list for the 15-day injured list with right elbow inflammation. Anytime you hear elbow in a pitcher, you start to get a little concerned. But you've got Kendry Rojas has already been called up. They thought it sounded like that was supposed to be a bullpen replacement kind of issue. But now Connor Prelip, who's their top pitching prospect, was going to be elevated to the taxi squad. And then the assumption is tomorrow he'll be added to the 26-man roster to replace Abel. So while their starting pitching depth has held up so far, now it's really starting to get tested.
That's what this always comes down to, right? Like whenever, and frankly, like all these discussions about payroll.
Yeah.
I think fans sometimes look at a payroll conversation and think this is about spending money on studs, on big time stars. And to a certain degree, it's about your insurance sort of projects. It's spending money on people are going to get hurt. Prospects are either going to work out or not. You need to be a little more loaded. And the Twins are sort of operating by the skin of their teeth.
It is, but I hate to. I'll offer one different opinion because yes, money you have to spend it to get players, but you also need to be able to identify that talent who will come up through the system and coach and manage that talent, who will then fill into those roles. That is something that the Twins traditionally in the past, let's just say 7 to 10 years, have not done great at. They have not developed that second and third tier talent that will come in and turn into your stars. And whether that's because they're not being managed correctly or whether that's because you're not identifying and drafting and making deals the right way, that's a big issue. It's not always about money. There are plenty of teams, not a lot of them, but there are teams that have been successful with payrolls that aren't astronomical. They just do a better job of identifying talent and managing that talent.
3 teams last year made the playoff with a lower end of the year payroll than the Twins. Cleveland, Milwaukee, and Cincinnati.
Yep.
Houston Astros in 2017 were the last team to win a World Series. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm not asking for that.
The Rays were one of those teams that a couple years ago were phenomenal and had a very low payroll.
Yeah, so it's possible. I think your point is valid. I have been on record as not being a payroll-obsessed human being, much to Twins Twitter's chagrin. But I do think your point is right. Where has this organization gone wrong with the vaunted farm system? With the, I think that's a valid question. That's a valid question.
I think it's a mixture of everything. You do need that high-end talent. You need money to get them. And then you need money.
What a boring take. Isn't it?
And then you need money to attract more talent, but at the same time, it's got to be a little bit of both. You got to have that talent coming up through the pipeline.
Did your kiddo succeed with the Eagle Scout bit from
the presentation? It went great, and so now it's just a matter of finishing the project. So this was just the presentation. We got more work to do.
If he doesn't become an Eagle Scout, is this really a reflection of your failure as a parent, would you say?
I would say more if he becomes an Eagle Scout, it is the reflection of my wife and not my doing, but I'm encouraging him. We did build a bench and I only nearly lost one finger. So I would consider that a success.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
We say we want our kids to be better than us. And then when they become better than us, it's a little like, not sure I like this.
Yep.
Thanks, Dave.
See ya.
Henry's next.
Get your home